Hey, welcome to Movies Worth Talking About. I am John Carlos, and I am joined by the master of puppetry, Pac-Man. I don't know, but Eddie?
God, now I can't even say my name the way I intend to.
Ah,
Oh.
shit.
And then you stepped on my line. Oh, I don't even feel like being here anymore.
You want to start over?
No, that's one of my favorite things to say to you.
Great, because it's true.
Yeah, it's Eddie. Hi.
All right, off to a fucking great start. So,
Yeah.
Scream 6 is why we're here.
Yeah.
In the binary, Eddie, of Siskel and Ebert, thumbs up,
Oh
thumbs down.
dear.
Like if you just had to say,
Oh.
I liked it or I didn't like it, where do you fall?
If I had to Rotten Tomatoes it fresh or what's the other one? Rotten. I was gonna say sour. Um, I would. It's not rotten and it's not thumbs down. I would say on the whole, thumbs up. I am with this movie. Especially this most recent screening helped a great deal because I had the most time from the movie that I've had since seeing it. I think only twice. So this was my third time watching it, and I had like a good couple of months. I think. When did it get released? I don't
I want to say
remember.
March.
March. Okay,
Or is it February?
a few months. A few months.
All I know is Five Cream was January, and I think this was like a year plus, so it was either February or March.
Okay, cool. Yeah, somewhere in there. So it's been a few months, and I was grateful for the revisit.
Yeah,
How about you?
well, I saw this in theater 6 times
Yeah. Oh, God.
because well, once I got to like 4 or 5, I'm like, well, it screams six. See it
Oh,
6 times.
oh my God.
But also, I'm really glad. Okay, so we'll get into it in a bit, but I will say this: first time I saw it, like opening night,
Yeah.
it was I was bombarded by like data because
Oh.
it's this story, but it's building off the last one, and it's references, and it's in a like I was just like I couldn't even like I know I had a good time, but I couldn't fucking tell you I need to go see this movie because like and you watch it later, it's not that complicated, but it just felt like every scene had like so many different characters and so many different emotions and so many different things, and this movie's spinning so many wheels that I just like I couldn't have told you what I thought of it after the first movie, a first viewing. Second time, I think I
Yeah.
saw, and I planned on seeing it in 3D. First Scream movie in 3D.
Mhm.
3D was fucking worthless. It not only was bad, but it didn't enhance anything. Um, then I saw it a third time. Uh, Also, the first 2 times I saw it, I had terrible audiences, just terrible.
Oh.
So it wasn't until like the later viewings when it died down where I actually just got to sit in a quiet theater and enjoy it. But what I'm getting at is the first 3 screenings almost like don't count because it wasn't until like the fourth time, and I'm not like I'm stupid or anything, but it was the fourth time, well, a little bit. It was the fourth
Hmm.
time where like it gelled as a movie that I like understood all the bits,
Okay.
and I wasn't just bombarded by like ideas and concepts and stuff. Like we'll get to it. There's elements that like I wasn't even aware were elements until like the fourth viewing. So the fourth and the fifth and the sixth times are really like me going on the ride for the first time and then enjoying the ride and going back for more.
Okay. Okay.
It was
Yeah.
weird. And I
Yeah.
tried to stretch them out by a few weeks. I never wanted to be on top. I think I saw it the first and second time like 5 days apart. But other than that, I'd wait like 3 weeks and go see it again. And I'm like, wait 3 or 4 weeks and see it again.
Nice. Yeah, no, the first time I remember I, I had a half and half audience. Like there were people who were absolutely floored to be there, who applauded and cheered at particular moments. We'll unpack when we get there. But there were also there was a couple arguing at one point, like right behind us, and because I went out with a whole team of friends who I record that Scream Left.
Mm-hmm.
Every 2 years we do a fundraiser, and I play Ghostface and Reed. So I was sitting next to the actress who plays Sydney, and we had a whole row, and I think Randy was next to me. So I was just sitting there and just enjoying it. And afterwards, our Sydney gave me the biggest compliment. She said, like, I want to sit next to you in every movie. Because we didn't know each other. We met each other face to face for the first time, and she didn't ever experience before the, and
Oh, yes.
and the no, and all of that. Yeah. Even the flinching,
For literally everyone out there, aside from the handful of friends that are watching this, watching anything with Eddie is truly an experience.
It is.
The sort of thing where when other people do it, I'm like, shut the fuck up. But when you do it, it's okay.
I try not to invade. I try to exist without invading the space. If I'm a bit much, if somebody tells me like, hey, then I'll be like, oh, sorry, I'm doing it a little too much, aren't I? But it's
at least
if the movie's happening to you, then
the emotions, at least they're like audible one syllable bursts, and they're not like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened, man, that's crazy. And
yeah. Although every now and then you'll show me a movie where I'll just be like, no.
Yeah. But I've done my impressions of you to you, where like, you don't just sit still. There's
yes,
and then you grab the chair, and then you brace, and then you and then the chair again, the rock. Yeah, it's great.
Yes. Even if I'm silent, there is choreography, or maybe not unchoreographed movement, spontaneous movement. That's what it is. It's all this. But
for the first time ever, side note, I just saw The Flash yesterday.
Yeah.
Opening day of The Flash. And this guy sitting behind me was doing like full sentences, So if something was funny, he wouldn't just laugh. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. What? And like every reaction was like 2 sentences.
Yeah,
having full conversations.
No,
I let everyone do that during the previews, but once the movie starts, I'm gonna turn around. But here's the sad thing. For the first time I ever felt not regret, but when I turned around, he was wearing a Superman shirt. And he was genuinely enthralled by what he was seeing. Like, he was vocal about it, but like, when you see like welcome to the movies at AMC or whatever, and like the audience is like, like he was like riveted. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to burst your bubble. Sorry to do this, but like, sir, you're talking very loud. And like I watched his little face like realize, and like,
yeah, and
I mean, still shut the fuck up, but like, it was the first time where I didn't want to yuck his yum too much,
Well, that's really, really sweet. But at the same time, like, there are other people in the theater, and I'm sure that there are other people who appreciated it. Anyway. But anyway, so the first time watching it, there was a lot of the reactions and everything like that. But at the same time, for me, it wasn't so much the info dump. It was the amount of time we spent kind of like without a joke here and there. I started to realize things are very dire. It felt, I haven't felt that way since, but the first time I watched it, I was like, I am exhausted. Like, I am really upset right now. Can somebody make a joke? Can someone please do something funny or meta, but I mean, not even just meta, because I mean, the whole thing was meta, but like meta in a way that makes me go, instead of just kind of like, they know they're in a horror movie, and I remember afterwards we all seemed to react pretty favorably as we rose to our feet and began to leave after the end credit sequence and everything, and post credit sequence, and we as we made our way through the lobby, we started to come up with some criticisms, and then we kind of went to the restrooms respectively, all met back in the lobby, and then went outside into the courtyard, where we really started going beyond criticism and I don't even know what you'd call it. We weren't trashing the movie, but whatever lies between criticism or critiquing and trashing, it was harsh critiques, I guess. And that's what I went home with, just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I'm gonna have to see it again, but do I want to? I don't know. I'm so unhappy for so much of it. And then second time I went with my mother and my sister. I had sailed through the franchise with my mother for the first time, because she claimed she had seen the first one, but I said, tell me something about it. And I'm like, who's the killer? She's like, oh. So I'm like, who's the first person to get killed? I don't remember. And I'm like, okay, well then you got to see it again. So we watched the first one. She really, really liked it. and that led her into the next one, and I'm like, well, the sixth one's coming out. She's like, oh, can we go see it? Now she's asking. So I brought her, went with my sister, her first Scream movie without her favorite final girl, and the both of them enjoyed it a lot. But and I had that thing where everything I enjoyed about it was still there, and all the things that I critiqued, I was like, yeah, still bothers me. Now it's I think the ride overall pleases me. It's just some things here and there. Well, ultimately, now, what would you say? Like your
Oh, I mean, I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew from the first time I saw it, like I enjoyed it. My only note up front about it is that when I look at all the notes I took watching it this recent seventh time,
yeah,
is I'm like, for a movie that I like, I have a lot of nitpicks. But like, you know, these aren't deal breakers, and also certain things like I adore the Star Wars franchise, and part of the fun thing of loving a thing is also knowing what doesn't work and having fun with talking about it. And I have some little like record scratches here and there with this movie, but nothing that derails it, nothing that I hold against it.
Oh,
What do you hold? But yeah, no,
I have an something that I will probably not evolve on. I predict. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten over it yet, and
I have one big thing that I have a hard time fully embracing, but I kind of usually every time I watch it, go, fuck it.
Okay. I like you said, it's not a deal breaker, but yeah. Do you want to? What do you want to start with?
I want to lead off with just some thoughts I had going in, because there's just one little thing that like I knew, and that was when they were announcing casting. I got very excited about two people in particular. Well, a few, because like when they announced Samara Weaving, I'm like, oh, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say his last name, but Henry Czerny.
Oh, Hank Czerny, yeah.
Yeah. When they announced him, I'm like, oh, great, cool. But when they announced Josh Segarra, I was like, ooh. Because I don't want to say that I'm like a massive fan, but like I'm a big fan of his work. And let me just say this. When you look at him in Arrow compared to what he's doing on the other two,
okay,
complete, like, you know, playing it straight in a drama, and then like the other two, he is a fucking himbo who like steals every scene he's in. I couldn't even believe it was the same guy the first time I watched the other two, and then I found out he comes from theater and was in On Your Feet.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, holy shit! So then you go down like the rabbit hole, like he could sing and dance. God damn it!
The Gloria Estefan musical, for anyone who doesn't know.
He's Emilio Estefan.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's precious.
It is. And then he was in She-Hulk recently. Anyway, every time he shows up in anything, I go, oh. And one of the reasons why is because I'm just shocked by his range. So the second he was announced in casting, him and Dermot Mulroney were the two people where I thought, oh God, I hope one of you or both of you is the killer, because I really want to see you guys play the scene.
Oh.
One of you, please.
Yeah.
And I got one of my wishes.
Yeah.
So going in, that was like my only thing, is like, let one of these two fucks be the killer.
Okay. I knew next to nothing. I mean, I knew some of the casting stuff like you did. I knew about Samara Weaving. I don't think I knew about Hank Czerny, but when he was on screen, I was just kind of like, oh my god, it was a reunion. But for, you know, the little time that he was on screen, but like a little Ready or Not reunion. Oh my god, look at that! And you're a really bad therapist.
You're a terrible therapist.
Terrible.
And I also couldn't help but think like, oh, you're in Mission Impossible, like this year, like. Because I don't know how well you remember, but he's Kittredge in Mission Impossible 1, and that character hasn't been back, and now he's gonna be back in 7. So I'm like, you're having a year, sir. I'm excited.
Yeah. There you go. That's what a good friend would do.
Okay, but you know, like the first Mission Impossible, even if you haven't seen it, remember the commercials where he's like, Tom Cruise is like, you've never seen me very upset, like that moment.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I saw the first movie, but I mean,
he's talking to like that's the scene. The fucking, you know, I can understand you're very upset. Like, that's classic. I'm just happy to have him back. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So anyway, so But as far as, I mean, I knew it was in New York. I knew that you know, as all of us knew, Nev wasn't going to be back because it wouldn't pay her what she was worth and everything like that. And people were trying to,
Oh yeah, that was a bad time.
we won't linger on it because it's just bullshit. But I mean, you know, I'm so glad that's kind of behind us now. It's in the rearview mirror. But I remember at the time, like, people were having things spoiled for them by people deliberately who were trying to tank this movie in defense of Nev Campbell. Like, I mean,
Because that's what she'd want.
exactly, that like misguided Twitter
Yeah,
bullshit.
it's like
Anyway.
Roman slitting the producer's throat in front of her at the end of Scream 3, because like, this is the vengeance you'd want, is to witness another murder. Like,
Yeah, right.
shut up, get out of here.
Yeah,
Twitter.
there you go. But yeah, fuck Twitter. But
Twitter's being Roman, and I don't like Roman. So
no, and I don't like Twitter. I'll just
and then
say that.
I mean, I don't want to say I've come around on Scream 3, because like I joke in our podcast, but like, and I've said this before, like the worst, at least in my opinion, the worst Scream movie is still a good Scream movie.
Absolutely.
But I recently saw it at the Frida on the big screen, and not like it was a game changer, but the same way like the Star Wars prequels, once you accept the parts that are bad as the baseline, you can just enjoy the things that are good about it.
Yeah.
Like, I've really just put to rest all my notes about Scream 3 and just embrace all the things that work about Scream 3. And let me just say, I had a fucking great time.
That's great. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And I still cry in the end. But that, I mean, I like, because I dislike Twitter more than I dislike Roman, because at least Roman gets some kind of like emotionally cathartic response from me, with the help of Sydney. If it were just Roman on his own, probably not. But that sibling thing. But anyway, okay. So
but
this
Sydney,
movie.
Roman, Eddie, Twitter, fuck you. Yeah, you know.
Oh God. But if Twitter were, God, you know what? If Twitter had the same story as Roman, like the same kind of like pathetic, lonely existence, and I'm just watching it just like wither and die, I might take its hand so it's not alone in its final moments. I might, you know, pull a Sydney, but
if it was just reaching out with a bunch of like racist incel bullshit, like,
yeah, no, if it were just
off.
going on about its incel bullshit, just going like because I'm not even on Twitter anymore, but I have a friend who is, and he's getting attacked by, apparently there's like Amber enthusiasts now. Amber the killer, spoiler for 5.
Oh, okay.
But there are like people who are like, see her as like a feminist icon. Yeah, exactly. That look is.
Yeah, I like her as a character,
I mean,
but I don't see that. But yeah,
yeah,
I'd love to be enlightened, but I don't understand.
Well, this is the problem, is that like, unless you're taking that attitude of being like, well, please enlighten me, how do you see it or whatever, and even if you did, they'd probably find a way to be like, of course you're asking, because that's a total male thing to do. I mean, everything, no matter what you say, you're wrong unless you agree 100% with them. And yeah, so if Twitter started doing that, just going like, by the way, Amber is a total feminine, I'm like, shh, in the head, you know. Anyway, this one, Screevy. So I don't know what else I knew going in. I just knew, and I didn't see any trailers, so I had exposure to no footage, no scenes. Everything was a complete surprise to me.
Okay.
Thank God.
Which leads me to a question, which is, when you get to the theater and see the shrine for the first time, were you like,
yeah. Okay. I mean,
because if there's one thing I wish they hadn't put in the trailer.
Oh, God, that's so. Because I don't know, it was that was one thing that I actually really enjoyed, because that was, even though I was still kind of like waiting for laughs, more wonderful stuff happened in the shrine. Like once they all got there and they kind of like broke into twos, you know, like these little twosomes, like having these like exchanges and everything like that. And I loved almost every one of them. But we'll get there.
I have some notes about one of them.
Yeah, good. But the rest of them I was just kind of like, oh, and I still do that now when I watch it, so that's good. But also, I don't know, to see them confronted, the fact that like it wasn't a shrine to the stab movies, but it was to the actual occurrences made it resonate with me as it did with the characters. It's like Kirby is confronting the knife that she was stabbed with and the shirt that Jill was wearing. Oh, and then Gail looking at copies of her own book and then seeing Dewey, even though she'd already been to the show. That was the first time this screening I watched. I'm like, wait, didn't you already see that? But you're still kind of okay, I'll allow it. I mean, you know, I pictures that I've seen of my father 800 times over, I can still look at, and it's been over 20 years, and I can still be like, you know.
Or she walked in past the gated door, saw it all, went, holy fuck, and then like left, you know.
Right, maybe.
Without going up and down each aisle.
Headcanon. But yeah, just to see them all kind of like confront this and that and understand some of the things, but not all of them, but it's there for us. I don't know, that was a gift. But yeah, so no, that that's why I don't watch fucking trailers anymore for movies that I already know I'm gonna see, because the ticket's already bought. I don't need any more coercion, and I don't trust the people who are putting the trailers out to take care of me, because they don't.
Yeah, I didn't feel truly spoiled. I just, you know, in fact, that was part of the fun thing about being part of the fandom at the time, was when you have that shot, was seeing Instagram going, oh my God, that's Stu's jacket. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's, you know, and that's fun to sort of just play with. Because also the conversation was also, are these the real items? Are these props from movies? Like, you know, there's still questions, but basically what that does is it gets social media a flutter, which is all just free promotion. And it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it did, and I'm glad it did for that reason. I'm glad that, you know, that it was. Isn't it to this day, like, but very early on, wasn't it the biggest money making Scream of all time?
The biggest opening weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't checked like Box Office Mojo or whatever it's called.
Because, you know, obviously now, Scream 1 was a slow. It was like, oh, it's in 7th place for like 4 weeks. Now it's in 6th place. Now it's in 5th place. You know,
sleeper
like
hit. Yeah.
2 months later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Scream 2 was a big hit. I think Scream 6 was the biggest opening.
Okay.
And because Scream 4 didn't do well, I think it made more in the opening weekend than all of Scream 4's entire run. I think it opened to like 44 million.
I mean, I get that. It was a different time, but
look, I really like Scream 4. My only thing about it coming out, I think, was just if you're looking for the big numbers, not the success of the movie, Scream 5 struck at the right time, where like enough, there's a good 20-year sweet spot of like, we're nostalgic for this, but like, you know, Scream 3 was 2000, Scream 4 was 2011. It felt, and this is at the time when the Weinsteins were constantly like, I don't know, what do we own? Bad Santa 2. What do we own? Spy Kids 4. Like, let's just fucking.
Also, there was a lot of studio interference on Scriphorum for sure that, you know, I think prevented Wes from kind of from it feeling like his opus, as opposed to it being like a movie that he had input on, Kevin Williamson had input on, the Weinsteins had input on, and then other studio people here and there probably had input on. Yeah, I mean, and you can tell. I mean, and when there's alternate versions of this opening sequence, and that, you know, whatever. I mean, it's anyway, with this movie, I'm glad that you brought that up, actually, because one of the problems that I thought they solved beautifully in a way for me, especially in that first screening, I was wondering, don't make it so soon after the 5 Cream movie, because what I love about them waiting so long, because, you know, you've got the original movie, which is, you know, the first of its kind, and then you've got the sequel, which is about sequels, then you've got the third one, which is about trilogies, and I still do that, even though it's just it's just Randy saying trilogy and then Dewey going trilogy, but I always hear trilogy.
I always imagine that Randy had one of those little like basic video editors connected to his camera, and he like hit the echo for a second.
Yes, but it's not. But anyway,
and star wipe, you know.
Yes, but after good one. But after the trilogy, then they waited 10 years or so, and then they made one that was all about like the reboot / remake era and the grittier version of like, you know, this isn't your grandfather's Scream, you know, like whatever. And I think it landed as far as its commentary. We already did that pod. And then Five Cream, what I loved was it was all about you know, like the requel. It introduced the term to me. I had never heard the term requel until I saw that movie, and I was just kind of like, what a beautiful word, and I'm going to use it from now on. And the world has followed. It followed suit. And then so I was just kind of like, no, wait a little while for a new era. You need something else to comment on. And the only thing, I don't remember if we talked about it in our Five Cream discussion, but the only thing I could think of was, well, I mean, multiverses are really cool right now. So like maybe if they just kind of like make it all about Kirby, and there's a whole other ghost face that she encounters with the new crop of kids, and then they all come together like in the big kind of like end game of Scream.
Yeah, we talked
know?
about you were talking about the only thing you could think of was multiverse. The only thing I could think of was fan service.
Right. And
and this one, by the way, just you get. I can't believe I didn't think of it before. But yes, go ahead. Just going after the concept of like just at this point like a multi-film franchise. Like forget it being a trilogy. Just like fucking Fast 9 and you know.
That said,
Mission Impossible 7, just like franchise,
right? But that said, they also did heavily receive influence in terms of like the decisions that they made and like what the motives were and everything. As Five Cream is to Scream, Screevy is to Scream 2, I feel, in terms of like, the sins, the sins of the survivor of the last movie being revisited by the family of the killer from the previous movie. Like in that vein, it's very Scream 2. And even the fact that like they're in college now and not in high school anymore, and I'm just kind of like, okay, and
they rushed to make a script to get it out 1 year after the first one came out.
Exactly.
And that's why I wasn't that concerned about Scream 6. I mean, it was a little bit, but I thought I'm not expecting to be as good as Scream 2, mind you, but Scream 2 is shockingly good for how little time they had.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven can make that, in my opinion, one of the best sequels ever.
I mean, it's great, but this is the thing.
So if you were smart and you write the right script in the right amount of time, it can create locations and find the right. This is all possible.
That said, it does make me a little concerned because the last time I saw this happen with another franchise, and it didn't end well for me, with the Halloween franchise. When Halloween 2018 came out, and it was like Halloween 2018 or Halloween 1978 begat Halloween 2018 as Halloween 2 1981 2 I forget, but you know, Halloween 2 OG begat Halloween Kills because same night, you know, and all of that stuff. And then after I saw Halloween Ends, I was like, it all fell apart, and all of a sudden I started seeing all these people in my Instagram, because it's the only social app I was on at the time, besides like YouTube, which is kind of a social media app now too. But a bunch of people like showing like the design of like the title matching Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and that's why it's so disconnected, and explaining what I thought were some huge flaws in that film because nostalgia for the original trilogy. And I was just kind of like, no, it doesn't make me like the movie more. It doesn't make the movie better constructed now. Like, oh, now I see it. It's just kind of like, you know what? You shouldn't have adhered to a format of what had already been done and what had already existed and what had already not worked box office wise. You know, I mean, I love Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, you know that, but I love it for what it is. I doubt it that I'll ever love Halloween Ends at all. It's just, it opens with such promise. I was with it for like maybe the first half hour and then slowly fell apart. So what I'm worried about, seeing Scream kind of follow suit, if they do follow suit, I'm hoping that the whatever sequel got greenlit that's coming up next isn't Scream 3 reboot, you know, like, here we took all this stuff and throw it. No, surprise me. Do something completely different. If you do a little homage nod thing here or there, like that's kind of inescapable fan service and whatnot. But dude, make a movie. Just make a good movie. That's what I want. So
I don't find that this movie falls into like a rehashing of Scream 2. I intentionally wore a Scream 2 shirt because Scream 2 is so in this movie. But I mostly just find like certain beats in the third act and then like a little bit of, but I consider this a good thing. Just like Scream 1 is like, hey, here's the kid. No, I'm sorry, Scream 2022. Kids outside of their school. You know, we've got the party at the end of the movie. Like, so
the same house.
There's a precedent, but just the laundry list, because I'm such a big fan, I wrote it all down. Like,
oh boy,
if it escapes anyone, not just any frat party, but Omega Kappa Beta party, inquiring whether she's pledging for Omega Beta Zeta. Nice little Easter eggs, if you will. They have nothing to do with the actual story. They riff on Gale getting punched. Scream 2 did a riff on that. Sam gets angry at Gale about a quote in her book. Like, do we? We have the rules about the speech taking place on campus. They have a reference to the van scene with Randy. Really, really minor, but I just couldn't help think when Sam and Tara steal a cop car, I'm like, oh, it's two women in a cop car. It's a big showdown in the theater. Kirby got shot. I'm like, Gale got shot. You're going to come back. You're fine. And then sure enough, she did. Familial revenge motive.
Yes, of course.
Chad survives the same way Dewey survives.
Yeah.
On a stretcher.
He's going for his record.
And specifically these lines. Hey, I want to catch this fucker as much as you do. If we're all suspects, you're all suspects. It always goes, it was always about poor sweet Sydney. Like, you never got to be the leading lady. It's the same parallel to Randy. She even says, fuck you. Like, it's the same scene. It's a different line reading, but we still get the fuck you bit. And these are all things that like the next one just made me happy when Quinn's like, you didn't see that one coming, did you? And I'm like, oh,
yes, didn't
nice.
see that one coming, did you? Yeah.
And I love, really great parenting job, by the way.
Yeah.
And the fact that she starts critiquing you know,
Richie.
Richie calls him a man baby, an Olympic little fuck, and that gets the parent upset. I'm like, these are all fun callbacks. They make me go hee hee, and I never reached a point where I went like, oh. I don't know if you did, but I just thought that all that salt in the soup just made the soup tasty.
Well, that's the thing. It made me, the only reason it made me concerned is because, yes, it made the soup tasty. And I know the way studios think and even the way some creatives think. And I know sometimes if something works, they figure, well, let's just do it again. And that's what I don't want. I don't want their next Scream movie to just be comprised of references to Scream 3. I'd really... like, please don't have there be like a new sibling show up or have Eddie. The killer. What
would you be, since her death wasn't as drastic as others?
Oh boy,
if Parker Posey came back,
everybody wants that. Everybody wants that.
Would you be upset if Jennifer Jolie showed up again?
Absolutely not. Okay. But at the same time, I would be a little like, okay, so now we're rewriting history, because she was RIP'd in the little booklet, the Scream DVD box set that came with the 3 movies.
But is that canon?
They listed, well,
it's a booklet.
The funny thing is, she was killed and she was memorialized in it with all the other kills in Scream. Everybody who was killed in Scream is memorialized in that, except for Emily Mortimer's character. Yeah. And so it made me think like, oh, Stu's dragging her out of the shot.
Stu's not. I think Roman is.
I always thought it was Stu, and then that's why, and she escapes with him.
No.
And
Well-
I love watching that movie and just imagining that Emily Mortimer's in on it the whole time anyway. But
Well,
then
it makes the movie go down better. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes more sense because otherwise, then Roman is just teleporting.
I just saw Scream 4 literally a few days ago, and she, goes down the stairs, and then you see, it's very brief, but she goes down a hall and Ghostface does attack her, but you don't really see. I would, in my own head, either retcon that like Roman and her had some falling out, or we're going to play this in case anyone's around to see it.
Sure.
To make this look real. But, and then he drags her, and we have to act it all out in case anyone's up the stairs or around the corner. But, that turns out I would buy her coming back before I ever buy Stu coming back.
Well, I mean, and
that TV's fucking heavy.
No, I know.
It's got
and
all
I'm
that
joking.
shit and gack in it, and he gets electrocuted. Stu's fucking dead, and I love that Scream 6 puts him on the board.
Yeah,
like the police and the FBI know he's dead.
But I also love that in that exchange between Kirby and Mindy, I believe, where they're just kind of like, if you believe Stu Macher is really dead or whatever. And I love that. I don't want it there for the turn that the movies are going to take or anything like that. I just love that, you're listening to us. You know what's going on online.
That's all it is.
More meta bullshit. That makes me
That's a meta joke to your audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they didn't have him up on the board, I'd want, you're gonna fuck this up. But like, no. Once you commit to having him be a dead killer on a board, he's dead.
I do have to say, yeah.
It like it's too much legwork, but you would actually have to have him survive and fake his own death and be in hiding this whole time. It'd be too stupid.
Yeah, it would. But if I heard that that's the next movie that they were making, I'd still go see it.
Well, I'd go see, but
I wouldn't have any high hopes for it. I'd be like, all right, let's go watch the fucking fan fiction, but I want to have a good time. Let's go watch it.
I'd sooner believe Emily Mortimer's back. Even I never thought about this until I recently watched Scream 4.
Yeah.
But I think it's when Dewey is talking to Jill, and like they're talking about they refer to Sydney got brought here. If the idea that in Scream 6 they establish, I died for a few minutes, and then they probably would have taken Kirby to that hospital, and they all would have known, like, it's not like she was found 2 hours later. Like, these are all the same first responders coming to the same house. So it is like a retcon that doesn't totally fit, because she'd probably be at the same hospital Jill and Sydney and Gail were all at.
But she died for 4 minutes. Maybe she's like,
she didn't die for 4 hours.
No, but maybe she was isolated because it was precarious. Like, they don't want to, maybe she's in the ICU.
I feel like, but it's still the same police department going, hey, we found another body. Let's go isolate her. But like, the data would be there.
That doesn't bother me. She's off screen.
I don't believe that the sheriff wouldn't know that.
No, it happened off screen.
They're all first responders.
Hey, stop trying to kill Kirby. It's not gonna happen.
I have a Kirby Lives shirt that was made before this movie ever came out. I am all for Kirby Lives. I'm just saying, for the first time ever, I went, oh yeah. No, they'd know you were alive. In Scream 4, they would know you're alive. If you're dead for 4 minutes, they'd know. You'd be. It just doesn't fit.
They didn't say which 4 minutes. Maybe they were 4 minutes after the movie ended.
No, I love she's back. I want her to come back for Scream 7. I'm just acknowledging that I can. I'm not in denial that it doesn't fit. I love it, and I know it doesn't fit.
Okay, we have a lot to unpack. So what else do you want to talk about?
Okay, before we get to the movie straight, a few other things leading up to the movie.
Oh my god!
What? Fuck you! It still has to do with the movie.
All right.
These posters they made leading up to it. I have a few of them. I don't have all of them that were made available, but my favorite one, is the poster of New York, of Broadway, and Ghostface mask looming over it. Stab the musical. I'm like, oh my god, is this going to be in the movie? Turns out, no. There's like the little TV, there's a news report about the Mackenzies and that they were murdered, and I'm like, oh my god. the Mackenzies from 1 and Liv's family from 5. Holy shit, how is this going to tie into it? It has nothing to fucking do. Like, marketing knows nothing about the story aside from, I don't know, New York and Ghostface. Let's mock up some shit. It'll be fun.
Right.
We'll hire an artist. There's a second poster, I think it came out in the Christmas season, of like Ghostface living over like the middle of Times Square. And there's a musical called Wrongly Accused, the musical. And I'm like, oh, who was wrongly accused? What? Has nothing to do with nothing. Anyway, it was just fucked up because like I remember after like the second time I watched the movie, I'm like, wasn't there something on a poster about like the Mackenzies? What the whatever. It's just fun being a fan and following that shit in advance.
And I think they knew that the fandom was going to see shit. I actually think it was intentional and that they knew the fandom was going to pick stuff apart like that apart because it's more stuff to talk about, more content to produce. But it needn't be in the movie just for that reason. Because
no, in fact, I
to keep it going.
I was nervous about, can you successfully put Stab the musical in this? Is this could not work.
No,
I'm not saying it needs to be a major thing, but even in the universe, I don't know how you put that on stage. So I'm glad that it's just it's just a fun thing.
And how it's a hit.
I mean, here I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but
oh dear,
no, but because I think it would be, you can make a movie out of a true story. Yeah. Part of me goes, it'd be really poor taste to make like a musical out of teens getting murdered. But then, you know, Les Miserables, like
but that, I mean, that
without specifics, it's still, you know, a piece of history. I'm just saying that like in an era where like you make a Netflix show about Dahmer and you really spend the time honoring the real victims, and all it does is drudge up the past for all the families of these victims, but everyone watches it and is fucking thirst trapping over Dahmer and shit. Like, yeah, fucking or Stab would be Ted a Bundy hit. Too. People are jerking off to fucking Dahmer. So like,
no.
Yeah. So let's I guess we could just kind of go loosely follow the order of the movie and then just go off on whatever side tangents we need to.
Okay. Can I tell you? Opening scene.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. I hope, kind of like the way I do whenever I watch, particularly the opening for Scream 1996, Scriforum, they always kind of like re-happen for me when I see them again. Not that Scream 2, Scream 3, and 5 Cream don't, but but those two in particular, like the really laughs. Pop. The laughs that I have for 5 Cream because of how meta it is. Like, I just remember how joyful I was in the theater when it just kept starting. Oh, and then it was really starting. No, but now we're really starting. And in the first one, come on, like chilling, bone chilling. But with this one, I hope I never lose that feeling of exhilaration I got the first time when already I'm watching Samara Weaving and I'm like, oh no, going out into an alley and I'm like, no girl, no, getting stabbed, giving that guttural scream that she does, like, ah! And while she's being stabbed, and then Ghostface leaning down, pulling the damn mask off, and then we follow him, and I'm like, these are, and my head is exploding, and it feels absurd that my head is exploding because movie 6, and we haven't done this yet, and it never even occurred to me that it would, but this is the first time it's happening, and I'm like, we're following Ghostface. We know who he is. Where's the movie? What's the movie gonna be? And I'm watching Tony Revolori just saunter down the sidewalk and see Tara have a little exchange with her. I'm like, you stay away from her.
I know, because now we have information she doesn't. Like, it's a whole different scene playing out. Yeah.
And I thought, what? This is a different monster. It's totally going to be a different monster, and it kind of is. But then we follow him home, and he gets the phone conversation with Jason and everything. And he's watching Jason Takes Manhattan. And I'm just waiting for Welcome to New York. But
they specifically pick a scene that's not overtly New York, which I think
exactly.
Is
smart. It's still on the boat. But
Yeah, so the horror fan knows what it is without spelling it out for
yeah. Otherwise, it just looks like a slasher movie.
Although I will call not bullshit, but I do think it's funny that like his roommate's not supposed to be home. So like, is he used to? Obviously, it turns out he was home and got killed.
Yeah.
But if he's not home, why is the TV on? Are you used to him just leaving the? Who leaves a movie on? Who leaves in the middle of Friday the 13th Part 8 and just leaves the TV on? I don't get it. Anyway,
my mom does it all the time. My mom walks away from her computer and forgets that it's playing whatever movie or TV show she's watching. And I'm just like, and then I hear it and I'm like, Mom, we've been talking for 45 minutes. Did you forget to turn off your computer? She's like, oh, and
maybe I'm always aware of how much power contemporary TVs consume. So I'm always turning it off.
But that's Tony Revolori, isn't?
Well, his fucking roommate doesn't.
No.
And Tony is used to it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
wait. Before you go on with the rest of the scene out of the apartment.
Yes.
Besides her getting besides the mask lift, for me, the first one was just, now I see something red, and then I was waiting for the title. Yeah. And we stay, and I hear the ambient noise in New York, and that's when I'm like, "Fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
And then he leans down. I'm like, "Are you gonna do it? Oh my god, you're gonna do what I do!"
Yeah.
But just the fact that they linger for that beat of where the title card would go was so fucking exciting.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then and I like the fact that like we get to be inside his sick head. Because also I mean, I don't know if I would have felt the same way as a little boy. I think I would have if I'd seen this when I was a boy or even a teen. I think there's like a kind of sliver of a goody two shoes in me that like hears him describing like how it feels to kill a person and how, she wasn't human and she was an animal and all that stuff. And there's a part of me that worries like, no, because then people might hear that and think like, I want to kill someone, and I'm like, but then he gets his retribution. He actually, like gets killed. Like he gets to feel what it feels like to be an animal. Like, yeah, see, be on the other end of it, you piece of shit. And now it's a moral story. It's really stupid.
I thought you were going to say something as a little boy, because the first time I saw this movie, when he comes in the door, he goes, "Honey, I'm home." I'm like, "Oh, you're gay." And then later I'm like, "Oh no, you're just being sarcastic." Like, "Honey, I'm home."
There are a lot of people speculating on the internet about that too, that just because he said that they're gay. And I'm like, every other thing that he says leads me to believe they're just douchey friends.
Yeah. Or third step is they're douchey and they're gay, and he's being sarcastic about like, "Honey, I'm home," but like,
I don't know any gay guys in a couple who have ever, even if they're really, really harsh with each other, it's not like that.
No, not during Pride Month, buddy. Not during Pride Month.
Not during Pride Month, but hashtag not my ghost face. But but then when he got killed, it's like, who gives a fuck about movies? I was just like, so it's not going to be about the stab movies. What's it going to be about?
What a great last line before the swipe and the title card. I got goosebumps. And such a great line reading.
Yeah.
Every time I anticipate it, I get a joygasm. Who gives a fuck about the movies? Oh my god. So good.
We see next is Sam, but
no, we're not done.
Oh, we're not. Okay, sorry. Go.
Oh my god. First of all, I think it's awfully bold of him. This is like Spider-Man shit, at least, but like he kills Laura Crane, by the way. Crane. Fun callback.
Yes.
Not just because of Psycho, though, right? No, I think it's just the last name Crane.
Well, also she's a blonde in the opening scene, like Casey Becker was, and Casey Becker was the Marion Crane of Scream 1996. So yeah,
I buy it. No, but once he kills her, he straight up changes in the alley, and I'm like,
I know,
I'm looking around more than you are, sir. Like, this is awfully bold and dangerous.
But it's a dark alley, and nobody's going to be going down that dark alley because they know better.
Just a few feet down there, there's Halloween people just walking by. I just thought it was just awfully bold of you, sir.
Yeah.
Starting from the very beginning, I remember because like Scream 1 starts with the phone ringing and then the screaming and and then we start getting like a little callback. The Paramount stars are coming and we hear the phone ringing. And I remember it didn't click for me the first few times I saw it, but like we open in a restaurant. Why is their phone ringing? And that's when I realized, like on the second or third viewing, it's like, oh, how clever! Like you hear the phone ring, and then we cut to like someone at the restaurant answering the phone.
Yes,
which is a great like in-universe reason for the phone to be ringing during the title. Although I will say, I think they're just playing a woman screaming just to be fun. But again, if you're making the phone ring that we're hearing with the Paramount logo be happening in the movie, why is someone screaming in the movie?
Halloween.
Anyway.
It's Halloween night.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Eddie.
Or it's a Halloween party. Like people are on the streets in costumes. So
yeah. That's fine. The thing about Laura Crane that really gets me is that first of all, I was so happy to hear Samara Weaving just get to use her fucking voice and not play American or Canadian if you want to use your imagination. But there's these little things like she's messaging with the guy and she's like like by herself. These audible little laughs. It takes a very skilled actor to charm you instantly without very many lines. And it's such a short amount of minutes for an opening scene. We don't get you walking around the kitchen for a long time. I don't get the that like sells me on Casey. But these little and also the fact that while she's on it's when he's gonna call her and he's calling and she does like a little like she sings a note to herself. Like these are the things that sell me. These are the things. It's just a little singing of a note. And my favorite is just when she's going up her own ass, like a voice for the voiceless, you might say. And she eye rolls herself.
She keeps doing that. I'm just like, girl. I mean,
no, but
I mean,
when you feel like you're fucking like that's how
I know, but I feel like I'm her friend. I literally feel like you need to trust yourself more, honey. I mean, you're so gung-ho on like him being great and so like, oh my God, I'm a fool. And it's like, no, you're fine. You're fine.
No, exactly. And I wish the way that I can relate to it, I could look back at myself doing that and go, dude, you're fine. Not quite as bad as in Swingers, because that's like the worst one ever. But I've left like the answering machine message and I'm just like, shut up, hang up the phone. Like, I've done the eye roll thing.
Oh God, don't remind me. Oh Jesus.
But also I just have to give slight credit to the movie once we get to the apartment that after Scream 1, let's play a game. Scream 2 was in a theater. Scream 3, technically, I don't like when you play your stab games, but it was really nice to literally hear like, let's play a game. Like, do you know hot or cold? I'm like, oh, it's a different game, but we're still calling it a game when we're on the phone. Like, these are the beats that feel like Scream. Good job. Yes. I will judge, I don't remember his name, but I always just want to call him Flash Thompson from Spider-Man. Tony Rivallori takes the bloody Ghostface mask, puts it on his little display thing, then goes and washes his hands. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to wash the blood off your hands. But the incriminating thing, we're going to leave the DNA just all over that. Like, I get, like, I don't want you to justify it to me like, oh, because it was a murder and he wants to like, as a token. I feel like if you're an active killer, you also need to be able to cover your ass. So wash that fucking mask because, like, that's evidence. Anyway, I get very judgy on him.
I understood why he wasn't going to do it at least that night because it's not a reward, but what do you call it? Like I mean, you said token, and now I can't think of like any other word. But
like a visual keepsake.
Yeah, there you go, something like that.
Trophy. I don't know.
Yeah, keepsake is a good word for it. But I mean, it's the night that it happened. I can understand somebody. I mean, I can understand somebody having an affinity for that kind of thing. But no, I mean, it that didn't bother me. It made sense to me. Go on.
Yeah. Oh no, and then there's I don't know how to take it, but like before I found out just like what kind of pieces of shit. I mean, obviously he's a killer, but like I look at his apartment and all the posters, and I go, oh, I like that poster. I like that poster. I like that poster. I feel like if I was in college, I'd get along with you. You're a little entitled about your Jalo paper grade, which makes me think I probably wouldn't like you. But
exactly.
But I'll give a lot of credit to the costume department. His 4 Flies on Gray Velvet shirt really looks like something you would have ordered on Etsy. Like, I believe that shirt, you know.
Okay. Nice.
So anyway, these are all the little things.
Yeah.
Moving on. I guess to
Sam.
yeah. Sam.
Okay. Remind me where we meet up with her again, like, because it's all
Montage of the
lumped
city,
together.
and then we get to her in the middle of therapy.
Okay, so we're with the therapist. Okay, that.
Yes. One of the worst therapists ever, but yes.
Oh, yes. Can I tell you? Overall, yes. Melissa Barrera, we discussed like people, having problems with her acting in the previous movie and everything like that. I feel like in this movie, she happened for the people she didn't happen for before. I feel like that particular voice in the community is dulled down and is now yelling about other stuff. But and rightly so, because I also maybe I like to attribute it now when I go back and watch Five Cream post seeing Screevy. I just kind of put it to Sam's comfortable with herself now. She's in her own skin again. She's reestablished this bond with her sister. She knows better knows who she is. She's faced this demon she was that she called her father, that she was always seemed to be out running or using recreational substances, abusing them, even abusing herself to try and put as much distance between what she perceived as her legacy as possible. And now it's not that she's completely made friends with it, but she's walking the line. At least she's carrying it with her the way she carries everything. And she's acknowledging it, and she's in therapy. She's examining things, and everything about it is there in Melissa Barrera's performance. And I love Sam so fucking much. And watching her sit there across from Hank Cerny and tell him about the fact that she that people think that she did all these Ghostface murders, but she didn't. It was her boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend or whatever. And she's like, and what did you do about it? She's like, I stabbed him 22 times and then slit his throat, and then I shot him in the head. But that's not why I'm here. And I'm like, yes, the frankness with which she communicates that. And then her honesty, her full-on bold disclosure that it felt right, and that she knows that doesn't feel right. I'm like, girl, I wish you had a better therapist. You deserve one. I hope in the next movie you have a better one.
And it's implied when she says you're just like all the others, and I'm like, man,
I know.
This is the girl who, I'm not saying she needs help, but she needs the right listener.
Yeah.
No, we had talked last time about we were not on board the haterade train. But we did acknowledge that there was some readings that weren't totally amazing.
Right.
But I was on board. But this time, like within the first scene, and definitely just throughout the whole movie, I just kept thinking, like, yes, like this, like good, and I'm cheering her on, like, this is what we want, like this is what you did it, like you're here, and this is the Sam I wanted, like this is the Sam that I wanted. I'm so happy I have her, because like I'm with you, like I am a cheerleader for her in this movie.
Absolutely.
Like we both were happy, with her stabbing Richie to fucking death.
It's ecstatic. Yes.
And even though that they're repeating it again here, but they're also digging into the conflict a little bit more. This one, I cheered on more just because she really locked into the coaster this time and went and did the fucking work, so that when we get to that same beat again, but now she's in her dad's outfit, like I was so with it. I'm just saying, like, God bless her, because like this was the Sam I've been wanting, and I got it. I'm so fucking happy for it. I'll tell you the moment I really knew it, because it wasn't even the therapist scene was good, but the fact that I still get a charge from it to this day, including today, because I just watched it again today, is when she and Tara leave to go to the police station right before the bodega scene.
Mm.
and Richie's phone number comes up.
Phone, yeah.
And Tara says, don't pick that up. And Tara looks up and checks the surroundings. And I'm like, there she fucking is.
Yeah.
Like, there she fucking is. And that moment gets me juiced up every time. Because I'm like, you're in it. You're here for your sister. You're not putting up with this shit.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mystery, like, I want to step into the mystery because fuck this.
Yeah.
And it's all in one look.
Yeah.
So,
and it's familiar enough that, or it's close enough to Sydney, like in the way that she answers the phone, doesn't wait for it to ring these days, just picks it up, just what?
well, and I remember there, I watched some interviews with radio silence for this movie. I didn't go like as hardcore about 5 because 5 was like, it'd been so long since 4 and I was anxious to gobble everything up. But they did talk about how like she came to set for this one like with something to prove.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good. Because I know she was aware of like what the internet was saying.
It's even, I feel like even that is kind of built into the script.
It is. Because the scene that breaks my heart is when she sits down at the table and God, I think I even have it down here somewhere because I wrote a lot of quotes this time compared to some of the other ones. Fuck me in the gotas. Where the fuck? I mean, we all know what it is. I'm just
something about being this hated. I forget what the exact line is. It just feels terrible being this hated, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Like
well, fuck it. Oh yeah. I literally it was the next note. God damn it.
Stop looking so hard.
Yeah. But I know I shouldn't care what people think. It just sucks being this hated. Yes. And the fact that radio silence specifically included that to give her something to work with, to meta textually acknowledge the audience and what is going on at the time. And this is one of the advantages of doing a sequel right on top of it, is you get to address a current zeitgeist.
Exactly. And also follow it up with Chad, the internet.
Nobody at this table hates you.
Piece and say, yeah, nobody, and because we are at the table as the audience, we're like, yeah, we hate you.
Yeah,
you know, like we got you. Oh, because that's another thing. Okay, we're jumping around a little bit here, but it's good because it's all Sam based, and I love her so much. We discussed in Five Cream about the disclosure to Tara scene about like, you know, Billy being her real father and her finding out and, you know, just spilling, just, you're gonna dump all this shit on me, get out, and all that stuff. Okay, I don't cry in that scene. I never have, and you know, I probably never will. In this movie, when Sam, because also I don't recall Sydney or any of our final characters ever doing this before either. When Sam finally, like, they've been attacked for the how many times now, and and the core 4, like, it's I think Mindy is sitting there saying, I don't want to get hurt again, and Chad's like, I don't either, and they're all kind of sitting there huddled together. She's like, I don't want you to get hurt either, you know. And they're all just they never looked younger, and they're older than they were in the last movie, but they all just look like little kids, like all kind of bundling together, because then Tara leans on Mindy, and I'm just like, oh my God. And Sam sees what I see, and I forget exactly what the line is, but she posits, what if I just give myself up? You know, then people don't have to keep getting attacked. I think it's after Gail gets attacked, and she's like, that, you know, this way nobody else has to die and nobody else has to be attacked and everything. I'll just give them what they want and just let it be over with and everything. And I'm like, and the way she played that scene, I remember the first time I saw it, I had to do the thing and lean forward. I had a mask on, but I had to, you know, still I do it over the mask. It's also to catch the tears because I was crying. And I still get emotional when it happens because it's it's one of those things that makes Sam different than Sydney as a final girl that I really, really embrace, because I don't just need another Sydney. I like the fact that Sam carries a kind of guilt alongside her that I don't recall. Sydney is never happy that what's happening is happening, but I never felt like she took any of it on unless she was somehow her, like, you know, her kind of like last minute decision or indecision about Derek in Scream 2. I think she had guilt about that, but I don't feel like she walked away from that experience kind of like carrying the guilt with her. I think it just kind of became part of,
Right.
Part they killed him. I didn't kill him. Like I did the best thing I could in that situation. I'll never forget him. I'm wearing his letters in the next movie. And I just feel like Sydney's better at dealing and carrying things than Sam. Sam's still learning because Sam's messier. Sam's tasted a bit more life than Sydney has.
Not like it matters.
Yeah.
But Sam also has a direct sister that she's seeing familial repercussions on. Yeah. Sydney never has a moment where someone like Tara is saying, like, I don't want to be like, when is this going to stop? This legacy that and then Sam's like, because of me.
Exactly. Yeah.
She has it a bit in Scream 2, just because like I feel like all this is happening because of me, but it's not focused on like your blood and
it's
and you already have the guilt of like I abandoned you.
Right.
And now that I'm back on all this bullshit. So like I'm trying to be so precious with our relationship.
And you've also challenged me because I thought I was doing everything right by getting into therapy and taking care of you and following you to the city to make sure that we can like build this bond between us and everything. And now you're challenging that and telling me like you have a plan and you know what you're going to do with your life. And I haven't thought about that because I'm not thinking beyond the immediate because I'm not ready to. And neither are you saying the elder son. That's another thought.
I was doing the right thing by tasing Frankie in the balls, but you're upset.
Yes, you were
upset that I tased Frankie in the balls.
Yes, no,
because I embarrassed you in a room full of people.
Yeah, right. Can I tell you? Like, I'm just going to tase you in the balls right now. Applause and laughter from me when she does that to date rape Frankie.
I had mixed feelings at first, only because, and I'm not like a piece of shit, but like I'm like. He hasn't done anything yet. Like, she's consenting to go upstairs. She could tell he's a creep. She even says, I want to. I'm not saying it's right. Because later she admits, I didn't realize how messed up I was.
Yes.
And she thanks them for it. So,
yeah.
However, so I acknowledge he's a piece of shit. But what I will say is this. For someone who all he's done is taken a girl halfway up a flight of stairs, does he deserve to get tased in the balls?
Yes.
Then... later we find out that he is referred to by other people as date rape Frankie, and I go, oh yeah, well of course tase him in the balls.
I didn't need to know that. I already knew. My gut told me. I don't know. No, I just
never. Yeah, the fucker was dressed as fucking Risky Business, which is like the laziest costume you could do for Halloween. Fuck you.
No, and everything about his energy and those steps he was taking, I'm just kind of like, this is not the guy you want to follow up the stairs.
Yeah. Eddie, what kills me is you can read it, and what kills me is that Tara can read it when he goes, I got a bottle of Fireball up in my room. And she processes it. And you could tell she knows, dirtbag. And she goes, fuck it. I'm like, see, that's the part. It's not that you didn't get the read. You got the read and you went anyway.
But she was also really messed up. So, and her friends, that's why I don't have a problem with anything that transpires in that scene, because like, honestly, as Tara, I could have used a core 4 in some instances in my 20s, but
before I forget this, the thing about the core 4, it's the little beat, and I just want to tell you how much I love it. They're sitting in the lobby of Gail's lobby, and Mindy says, I don't want to get hurt again. And then Chad's like, I know. She's like, and I don't want you to get hurt either. Yeah. And he leans into her and says the most heartfelt 2 words. She goes, I know. But he's saying so much with, it's so supportive. I don't have feelings the way you do, but I almost want to cry because of the way he says, I know. Yeah. There's a whole level of understanding. It's like a verbal hug. And then Tara goes, boop, on the other shoulder. And for the first time ever, I was aware of my age and went, oh, babies.
Yes.
They want to protect the babies, the little bambinos.
That's what they are. That's what they look like to me too. I'm just kind of like, no, baby, chilling.
Because sometimes,
I can't.
yeah, I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, I'm with you, I'm your age, but all of a sudden I'm like, no, you're the little babies that need protecting, and I'm in my 40s. Yeah.
You're still kids. You're still. That's what kills me. Also, is that they are still kids, and I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah,
watching them, just kind of like regress to a point where all they want is comfort and safety. And I'm like, that's all I want for you two babies. I wanted all of you back at the end of the previous movie, and I got you. I'm not losing you.
Yeah, and they did a very good job of to me strengthening that group.
Absolutely.
Like, we earned them to be back, but they came back, but then they really earned their place, I think.
I heard some people criticizing, which I'm some people I think just would criticize to criticize, but I've heard some people criticizing the Tara and Chad.
I call bullshit on that.
Exactly, as do I, because it's like, there were no seeds planted in the last one. I'm like, not everything is like planted. Sometimes you meet somebody and you know them for years and you're friends, and then all of a sudden you kind of look at them.
Yeah, when people.
Yeah,
go on.
Well, no, but and you just kind of grow up together, and you start to see them like, oh, I always just saw you as Mindy's brother, or I always just saw you as like, this or whatever, or maybe I was carrying like secret, but I never thought anything could happen.
Yeah.
Now,
if
the
we're
way
just
you're looking
about,
at me,
if we're even just talking about physical attraction, people shift over time. So maybe you saw something in him at 18 or 19 that you never saw as a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but to the people who say that it came out of nowhere. Yeah. And that there was nothing for it in the last movie. The reason why in particular I get upset about that is that based on what that particular story was.
Yeah.
Tara's in the hospital. All these other people are over here.
Yeah.
He visits her once, but the story isn't about her and that gang.
No.
It's about so hypothetically, he might have had a crush on her. She might have had a crush on him.
Right.
It never would have been addressed just based on what story was being told. So did you not fucking watch the last movie? I hate when people bring that up. It's such a moronic complaint.
Also, just like to be a little bit inside baseball, I feel like the remnants of the lesbian relationship between Amber and Tara are still kind of there. Like, I mean, you can write things out, but there's still there was a moment when I was watching the movie where I was wondering, like, so what's the nature of this relationship? What's going on? I'm getting friendship, but could there be more? And I got through the movie and I'm like, okay, I guess there wasn't more. They were just friends. And then I found out, but they were written to be girlfriends originally. I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like there was still some of that in there. So, okay, cool.
And you could also, she's still lingering on that. I would also just say, if you want a shitty excuse, can't the whole Speed, Keanu Reeves, we're bonded by a traumatic experience, just they got closer. She was in the hospital. I mean, she wasn't with them. She's not with any of them.
No, Sam spends more time with Tara's friend group in the previous movie than Tara does.
The only thing we know is that Wes had a crush on her. That's it.
Yeah, and that it was unrequited. Because she says, "Is Wes bothering you again?"
Yeah,
yeah. So
it's nonsense. There's a few complaints about it, and that's the biggest one. Where I go, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm just also. Also, just the fact that it was an extreme moment, so now you actually have an excuse. I mean, it's kind of when you step forward for a friend in that kind of vein, as extreme as Chad did, and then even more extreme as Sam did, but it is as extreme a way to physically assault somebody so they do not physically assault, sexually assault, whatever, violate or mess with your friend. There's a conversation that is going to follow. It doesn't necessarily it needn't be a romantic one, but there is going to be a conversation that follows about thank you for that, or let's acknowledge that what happened, and let's just kind of unpack it so it's not something that we just bury, because we got to talk about it. And if I'm going to thank you for it, that's what I'm going to do, and you're going to tell me how you feel about things, and it's the perfect moment to let them know that they deserve better. I would totally do that if someone were messing with a guy I was into and about to take advantage of him, and I had to sock that guy to keep him off of this guy that I think is the greatest thing ever, And then afterwards, I have a moment alone where I get to tell him, like, you are worth so much more than that guy was, prepared to treat you and the way you were, to treat yourself. I just hope that in the future you just, make decisions that you can see yourself the way I see you, kind of thing. Like maybe not that cheesy, but
right,
just
the intention.
Just to let him know, like, yeah,
See,
this is how I see you. You want to tell me how you see me?
well, and also that scene, and then the scene in the kitchen, and then the scene towards the end of the movie theater. How can you even be upset at the movie going there when they're playing it so, like, the chemistry is there?
Know.
Don't you just enjoy seeing that chemistry unfold? Why would you want to poo-poo that? It's so good.
The only thing that worried me the first screening was when I saw him sitting on the bed, I was just kind of like, wait, isn't she younger than you are? And I was like, no. I was just thinking, like, because in the last movie I saw Sam with her friend group more than I saw her. And I thought, oh, but that's not Sam's friend group because she used to babysit for them. So, okay, no, those are Tara's friend. They all went to school together. They were all sitting in the schoolyard together. Sam isn't going to school anymore. Okay, and I had to like kind of do the math in my head during the movie the first time I saw it. Now when I watch it, I'm just kind of like, oh, and okay, it's two of the most beautiful young actors working in the industry today, and they're both really, really good, and they have this chemistry. So to watch them, I'm just kind of sitting there like, God, I can't watch this. This is so sweet. But do it, kiss her. Oh, and then so when Quinn walks in, it's like, fuck, lady, dude. And they can't just pick it up because
no, they can't,
because they're more sensitive than that. It's about something more important than that. It's
because the energy has dissipated, and sometimes you got to feel the kiss, especially when you're younger. Like that kiss feels so much better when you're in that moment.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't just go unless you're just some young horned up teenager who doesn't care. But the whole point is that they care.
The point is that they care, and that again, that this is something real. So you need to take the proper steps, and I feel like they do. And okay, excuse me, it's making me think about, or do we want to go back to chronology, or can we jump to something?
Whatever you want, just go.
Okay, because I there was another movie that I got visited visually twice.
Okay.
In this one, and we can unpack them both now or later, but I don't know. But just did you think at any point during Screevy about any of the Jurassic Park movies?
Yes.
You did?
I have some notes on that. Yeah.
Okay, because there was twice. There was one time.
There was twice for me. But
yeah.
But the fact that this is coming off what we were just talking about means one of mine isn't the same one as yours.
No, it's just because one of them has Chad, and it made me think about Chad. But the first one was just the bodega scene, which I love. I'm actually a huge fan of that sequence, even though I've had conversations with some people who say that it feels more action movie than anything. I'm like, it's tense, it's tension, I'm still worried about them, but they're like, but like to have Ghostface with a rifle, I'm like, it's different.
It's absolute tension, and also it gives us something slightly different. Like then if you're the one saying that, don't you dare complain about Scream movies being the same over and over. Here's something new and fresh for a moment.
And also still threatening. It carries a huge threat. And also this was the first moment in the movie, I think, even though like you mentioned the ambient noise in the opening when Tony Revolori pulls off his mask and everything, Jason pulls off his mask, but that's funny
Jason.
to say. Yeah, Jason. But the first moment where I really kind of like went, oh, there's New York, was when they ran into the bodega.
Yes.
And they're both screaming about someone's trying to kill us. And the first thing out of the guy's mouth who they stepped in front of was like, hey, someone like, there's a line right here. Yeah. Just like, dude, you piece of shit. You're not even listening to them, but someone would totally do that. And I loved everything about this. I love the fact that like, in walks Ghostface. All he has to do is stab one person. Everybody like knows, okay, this is something real. Out comes the shoddy shot gat from the shop owner, or the bodega runner, like whatever you want to call him. And I love the fact that he kind of takes charge of the situation as quickly as he does. He's like telling the girls, go out the back door and everything like that. I'm just kind of like, you got their back because you're a decent person. You're not a piece of shit like the guy in line. So, and then when they realize that it's locked and they can't get out and everything, and then they have to do the thing where they're on the guy, that's when I started thinking Lex and Tim, the Raptors. That's where we are. And they outsmarted Ghostface the way, not the exact same way, thank God, because that would have been really depressing, the way Lex outsmarts the Raptors, but throwing the can and then like when they crawling over the glass, that's also really, really good because I'm just sitting there going, my knees, my palms, and then when Ghostface is just about to like discover them, they both push the fucking I don't know, what do you call it, like fixture onto him and get the fuck out of there, and there are the cops and there is a left and there is a mask on the
the beat that got me is when they're at the end of the aisle.
Yes, yeah.
And I was just waiting for there to be a shot of a little ladle that would drop.
Or for like Tara to like push past some gummy bears and go and then
she's in like the little refrigerator trying to close the door, and it's a reflection on the other refrigerator
and then
door.
there's Sam going and running toward the door.
What's your other Jurassic moment?
My other Jurassic moment is in the fucking shrine, or I guess in the lobby of the shrine.
Oh.
And it's when Chad gets stabbed by the one ghost face, and then the other ghost faces come, and they both kind of like start stabbing him and holding him and everything like that. And I just, for some reason, I just thought about the Lost World and the two T-Rexes and the trailer. Because it was first time two ghost faces masked occupying the kill floor together and everything like that on screen. And I just got the two, for watching Lost World, two T-Rexes the first time I saw it. It doesn't work on repeat viewings because I'm just kind of like, this is fine. It's actually not that impactful. It works better with the two ghost faces, but it just makes me think about like two forces of the thing that you're so used to seeing just one thing occupy, and they're both deadly and they're both like doing some damage. And
I didn't even think about that.
And
when you started that sentence, I thought you were going to say the fact that he looks at her and he's like, run. And I was thinking of Ellie when she's like, run.
Yeah, except it's not in the same movie, but yeah.
Okay, so here's my thing. I watched the Jurassic Park scene in the bodega and went, oh, this is so Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And then later, when I saw it a second time, I think, and that's when I noticed, I'll get to this in a moment. But then I noticed another time, it's when it's the same sequence. It's in the theater.
Yeah.
They run, I think, from that ghost face. It's Sam and Tara run back into like the main house. Yeah. And a ghost face is there. And then they turn and another one comes out. And it felt like when they're when the four of them are running in the lobby. And you see one raptor and they turn and there's another raptor. I'm like, oh my God, that's the same beat.
Yeah. Oh my God, it totally is. It totally is. Oh, I'm never gonna unsee that now.
So then I started thinking about, and this is when it triggered for me, is at the same time I also thought about, they say we're a team, remember? Actually, we're a family. And then I heard Vin Diesel go, because we're family.
No.
And I went, wait a minute. If the last movie was calling out like legacy sequels, and we talked about a lot of parallels to Star Wars. This was about franchises. So Jurassic Park, Fast and the Furious. These are all movies that have 6 movies, 9 movies.
Yeah.
You're dropping just breadcrumbs to other franchises. And then I'm like, what else is there? Is that it? And then I remembered also when they're in the van and they're being there's the Sam and Tara are outside.
Yeah.
And they remind Kirby of like, this is how my brother Randy died.
Yes.
Uncle Randy.
She
goes, stay frosty out there. I'm like, stay frosty, aliens. So I don't know if there are any others, because I've seen this movie enough times. I haven't caught any more, but it just feels like there's these just meaningless little callbacks
You know what?
Film franchises that have lots of
Fuck.
films in the series.
Now I have to watch it again just to see what else, because I'm sure there are things that occurred to me that I don't really think that much, because I'm just kind of like, oh, my stupid brain, my stupid movie brain. I just everything makes me think of something else. But you know what? I'm certain there were more.
If Mindy didn't have a big speech about franchise, my brain wouldn't have gone there. But
yeah.
And also, I mean, you can joke about Fast and the Furious and just how like it's all about family, but like you literally have a core 4, which is a found family.
Yeah.
And then your villains are a literal family.
Yeah.
This whole movie actually is about family. Like,
well, I mean, like basically Bailey sealed his own fate when he made the statement after Quinn dies.
Oh, no.
He's just kind of like you fuck with my family, you die. And Sam just kind of goes like, agreed.
And to me, that's the ultimate foreshadow, because the third act is they're both paying that off.
Yeah, absolutely. Because okay, because now we're really jumping around. But yeah, by the end, when it pays off, and Sam is making it about, you know, not being her father, and like, you don't know me, and you know, I'm not a killer, I'm different, I'm better than that, or whatever. And he's just like, thank you. And then she looks over it, because up until that point, little Tara's been looking at her like, so you feeling okay, sis? Yeah, how we doing? Just checking in. Just what's going on? And finally, and she looks back at her, and for the first time, Tara looks at her like, really? Come on. And she's just kind of like, but you did fuck with my family. And oh, so good. I laugh when Sam inflicts violence, particularly on men.
It's so delicious.
It's delectable. But okay, so there's that. Something else. What do you have?
Well, we can kind of go back a bit to where we were.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see, because or let me focus on one person, I guess. Well, no, fuck it. I'm just gonna go back to some little things from where we left off. Like Sam comes home after her therapy session.
Yeah.
And there's just a little thing that makes me chuckle, because it's just like, it's movie bullshit. And I realized all right, let me just say it. She goes in, we think someone's getting attacked, and then she goes, Quinn, and you hear shit, and then she opens the door immediately in a robe. And the second time I saw it, I went, all right. She says Quinn, and like 1 second later you're at the door, but you're fucking. Okay, so I have to imagine, 1, you're on top. 2, the robe is really nearby, so that you can,
or you're wearing it like it's,
because she, by the time she answers the door, someone was in her like 2 seconds ago. Like, it's just I don't buy the amount of time it takes to stop fucking to get to that door. There should be more seconds. This is the things that my brain thinks about, Eddie.
They could have been up against the door.
No. Oh yeah. No, but there was unless they were knocking onto like a dresser. All I know is that, like, if you wanted to do it more in real time, Sam would be like, Quinn, and then we'd be like, and that's not cinematic. Right. You know, but it's just funny, because the amount of time it takes, I just imagine like there's someone with a robe right next to her, and she's like, shit, hello. Hi.
I mean, ever since Halloween 1978, it's fun to imagine the off-screen sexual antics that we don't get exposed to, and try to time it out between, where's Michael? I don't know, he's somewhere around here. Let's go upstairs. And then, will you call me? Yeah. And they fucked for 20 whole seconds. Fully clothed. Well, him fully clothed. Or him taking his shirt off, and then him putting his shirt back.
Hey, well, we watched Pieces, and that couple was fucking fully clothed in a park.
Yeah, but it looked like they'd been doing it a while.
No, that's true. Not 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Also, I love that it's an audio cameo. Tim Robinson is the voice of the guy she's banging from I Think You Should Leave.
That was so funny, though. That was like the first real big guffaw from the audience. Was what did you say? Are you with? Yeah, Kurt. Is it Kurt? Like,
who the fuck is Kurt?
Yes.
Oh my god! And again, you could almost lose the line, because it's not very loud, but everyone in my theater, mostly women, were laughing.
Yes.
But I also love, "You coming back, babe?" And she's like,
yeah. Oh, and I just watched Cruel Intentions, and Ryan Phillippe does that before he goes. It's not a franchise, like, well, it is. I mean, there's 3 movies, but anyway, no, but he just goes in, "Baby," and then he goes in and bursts in on the 2 gay guys. Anyway,
oh, and okay, so while we're talking about that apartment, and because we were talking about Tara earlier, so I'm going to jump back to that and that scene with her and Chad. This is like, okay, this is gonna sound stupid because she's already worked a lot, and I feel like Wednesday shot her into stardom.
Sure.
But when I just forgot his name all of a sudden.
Oh, Mason Gooding.
Yeah, what's his character's name?
Oh, Chad.
When Chad leaves, she falls back into her bed, and she processes the entire moment that just happened. She's remembering, and then the smile falls across her face, and then she's aware, and she does this crinkle, and I just instantly just thought, "You're a fucking star." Yeah. That is like the Julia Roberts moment. That is, you're not just an actress, you are also a goddamn star.
Yeah,
because you were owning the screen and throughout the whole movie, she makes really, really little clever choices that really ground her. Like, it's not just the line, but this mocking tone when Cute Boy calls. She was, "What are your intentions?" And she hands the phone back in a way that you're fake holding the phone to begin with. Like, it's all just really good choices.
Yeah, she's amazing.
The way her and Chad are bullshitting about the candy before they kiss it, that it's that young, awkward, you're both trying to be funny, and people say, "Oh, it's perfect."
But also, you're not talking about anything. It's all the banter rhythm. It's all just an excuse to just keep teasing each other without really teasing each other,
without saying anything. It's all just vibes,
just in there like, "Shut up, stop, what are you thinking?" Okay, well, I'm not gonna eat that. No. That's ancient. It's ancient. I'm not eating that. I'm not gonna eat that. Oh, you're gonna eat it? You're gonna eat that candy? Fine, go ahead, I'll watch you. Just because okay, can we get back to that for a moment? Because another thing that I really appreciated about that moment, I would have been fine in that, before that, like in that moment, like just like kind of like, what if they never really get to, whatever, what if that, oh well, we'll have something to look forward to in the next movie. And then he just went for it, and I was just like, yes, perfect.
People in my theater, mostly women, cheered.
Oh yeah, at that moment. Yeah, in mine too. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's another thing. Dewey and Gale, they smooch and then stab.
Oh,
it's Scream 2.
And then he survives.
Yeah.
And we don't find out until the end. God. If only she stepped on or if he stepped on a box of pizza before he got stabbed or something. But
we don't want to get too.
Yeah, that would have been a note too high, I know. But
let's see.
Yes.
Can we go back in time a little bit to when they're leaving the party? Yes. Because we're still staying in like the first 2 or 3 scenes of this movie.
I know.
So we're definitely doing a part 2, everybody. It's a little thing, and again, we learn later that Ethan's a piece of shit. But when they first leave the party, and after Sam's been doused in Diet Cherry Coke,
yes,
I'll never forget when he pulls out tissues, and he goes, "Do you need a tissue? I have like 3 tissues." This woman behind me went, "Aww," and we're thinking, "What a nice fellow."
I did too.
And then what kills me is that Sam takes them, and I'm like, "Thank you, thank you."
See, I
just like, Sam, come on, like, just say fucking thank you. That's why he tries to kill you.
No,
I'm just kidding. That sounds like some incel bullshit.
Oh my god, that's some incel shit.
Yeah,
but
although, can we just go off? Okay,
Tony Revolori killing his film teacher for go on. Sorry.
No. Ethan, who quite literally says, "Am I going to die a virgin?"
Yeah.
there's something about the joy in his eyes as he's doing this in the last scenes
Yeah,
where I'm like, the note was just incel vibes.
totally.
It's all there in the and I'm just like, ugh.
Because he also didn't have to go there with that fucking line to Tara about I always wanted to put something in you.
Mm-hmm.
And when he says that, it's like, oh, kill him a lot, Tara.
Right. Like when you pull the knife out and you're like sprayed in his blood. Like I know it's gross, but I'm also like, yes. Like the
Yes,
fruits
no,
of
no.
yeah.
Make it painful, make him regret everything he's said and done his entire life. Make him regret every choice he's made. And I think she did. I think she succeeded there, and I'm glad for it. But no, but you know what's funny is I saw that moment, particularly this screening, because I think I had forgotten about the tissues for Sam before. So I took notice this time, and I was just kind of like, oh. And the fact that she just like takes them and then just kind of looks at him. Because another one of my favorite reactions to him later in this movie is from Mindy when they're stranded on the subway platform together. Not stranded, but like from their friend group. Yeah. And she steps away because she's like, get your ghost face ass away from me, ghost face. And she walks away, and then he starts looking at her, she's like, away, look away. And I'm just kind of like, Ethan getting cold shouldered by my favorite female characters in this movie makes me again so happy.
Oh my god.
And
also
I
that delivery.
Yeah.
The second she goes, get your ghost face ass away from me, ghost face.
Yeah.
You're just a doorman. Using the same thing and the same thing just makes me so happy.
Yeah, that's so cute. But okay, so I glean a great deal of joy from that moment, actually, because she doesn't owe him anything. Like, yes, he's being helpful and everything like that, but no.
But the fact that he even
she's having a bad night.
But technically, like, he's not her friend, and that's why I think it really works, especially when he goes like, wait, am I in the friend group? Because like, honestly, he kind of isn't.
Yeah.
He's a roommate who then is around, and he, in theory, if this was like a nice normal story and he wasn't a killer, maybe he might become a friend. But like all her doubt, like it really works.
And can I also just say, if I were the question mark friend, of the group, like the not quite friend yet of the group, and I just witnessed the fight between Sam and Tara that I just witnessed, and then just saw her, after she tased a guy, and after she just got diet cherry coked and everything. If I offered her something and she took to dry herself off and she took it, I would not expect a thank you. I wouldn't even expect any kind of acknowledgement, because you've had a night, darling. You've just been confronted over and over and over again. I'm just here to assist, and if you acknowledge my existence, great. If not, cool. But I'm also a heavy introvert and not an incel, so I
was looking at it from such a patriarchal, like, well, where's my thank you? Like,
bitch, I gave you tissues.
What an asshole. This guy.
If it's really about giving her something, let her have it, Giancarlo. But anyway,
but I do have a specific thought about Ethan that ties back into the party, and what kills me is this. Ready? At the end of the movie, when they're having the big speech or the big reveal, and he talks about like juking the lottery. He says, all I had to do was room with a conceited, condescending alpha, literally named Chad. The fact that he takes a dig at Chad by calling him a Chad, I remember thinking, how dare you? He was at the party, hyping you up. He was such a good wingman. He called you a snack. What a, like, this dude. And you don't deserve Mason Gooding to be hyping you up and calling you a snack.
No.
The fucking audacity. Like, I was so upset at his dismissal of Chad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. That was
so good to him at the party.
It was another knife twisty moment where I'm just kind of like, you don't know Chad. You can't see him clearly at all. You're a piece of shit. But you know what I think it is? I feel like the biggest clue as to Ethan's core in the movie is when Dermot Mulroney Bailey gets up on the stage, takes in Richie's movie, and he says something to the effect of like, "Of my first son."
There's a special bond.
There's a special bond, yes,
father and his first son.
and
they
then
cut
a
to
shot of Ethan just kind of like quietly swallowing, just kind of choking something back. And I'm just like, you've had to live with this your whole life, and now that he's dead, he's been deified forever. You'll never be the dead son. You'll never be Richie.
And you're definitely doing all of this because this will get your favor, like in your dad's favor. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's still not enough. That's the tragic thing for me. That's the most tragic thing for me about Ethan, is the fact that like he's doing all of this to satisfy some kind of male validation to his paternal, his patriarch of his family and of his life, the man who's leading him by the nose to kill this person, kill that person, to avenge the son that really matters to me. Because would he be doing all of this if Ethan had been the one who got killed? I think not. And I think Ethan knows that too.
Ooh. Yeah. I think you're 100% right.
I think Ethan is a wall of insecurity, and yeah, that's where everything comes from, and it makes him actually more interesting now that I think about it. I never really quite articulated it that way, so I'm glad we're talking about it. Yeah, that's all I have about that.
But not enough. There's no tragedy in there where like I'm like, oh no, I feel bad he dies. Like, no.
When he dies, I am laughing and cheering. And going, yeah.
Also, speaking of laughing, he's already stabbed Kirby, so when Sam runs up, and I'm like, oh, please take the knife out of her gut and stab him. Just do it. And she's like, I'm gonna need this. And I'm like, yes.
And what does Kirby say to her? She says something.
She goes, fuck him up.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I love about this movie, is between Kirby telling him, fuck him up, and Sam going like, I'm gonna teach you the balls now. And then there's one other one. This movie is full of moments where I cheer a woman having some great line right before she fucks a dude up. Like, it's just a vibe that I'm fucking here for. My favorite one doesn't actually happen, but it's such a great moment, because now we're kind of hanging out at the end of it. But it's the two raptor ghost faces. And Sam grabs a brick. Tara, get a brick.
Yeah.
And first of all, I love find whatever you fucking can. Grab an umbrella. You grab a stick. Whatever it is you can do.
Yep.
So arms up. Melissa Barrera's got her fucking arm up, and she's like, "Are you ready? I need you to be fucking ready." It's when she's like, "Come on, motherfucker!" Only note I have is that I'm so ready for the charge, and instead that moment gets diffused by something else, which is fine. It's what the story is telling me. I'm only complaining because I was so ready to go on that moment. I was so ready to go into like battle with her. It was such a good battle cry.
Yeah.
But it's a good battle cry.
It is, but also it's preceded by one more thing that I like, where they're back to back, and Sam is like, "Look at me." And Tara looks her in the eye because they're not looking at each other, and Tara's not quite sure yet. And I think that's when she says, "I need you to be ready." And she's just like, "I'm ready." And I'm like, lock and load. You're on the same team.
Yep.
Done this before. You're gonna do it again, but you never did it like this. And this
movie, more than the last movie, I'm really like Carpenter sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I get them separately in the movie prior, but I love them. I root for them. But in this one, it's like, yes, doing some damage. Because also, go ahead.
when she lets her go,
yes.
But right before she lets her go, Tara gets this wicked little smile, like, I got this. And then when Sam's fighting Quinn up there, she's got this wicked little smile, and I'm like, the Tara sisters have an "I'm gonna fuck you up" smile, and it's a sister thing. I like this.
Yeah, me too, in a big way. I just, the fact that it helps having already seen them kind of like both come into their own, Sam with, we've already talked about it at length, but the into Richie in the previous movie, and Tara with I still prefer the Babadook.
Yeah.
And all of her strength through all of her like victimizing that she is fallen prey to in the previous movie, and she's still coming back, and I still see Tara when I look at her like strong ass motherfucker girl. But so to see them, that was another thing I really appreciated about the movie, is the fact that like with them, their story, there needed to be a problem, there needed to be something new, and I like the fact that it was attached to what had already previously happened because it's traumatic, and the fact that one of them is dealing with it and the other is not. But that doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong, because Tara has a point in her initial argument in the park when she's saying like, I have a plan. I'm going to move on with my life. What do you have? And it's a real question, because what does Sam have beyond the immediate? Sam is living in survival alone at this moment, and she needs to move beyond the immediate. And because moving beyond the immediate means you have some hope. It means you have something to live for beyond protecting, beyond living in a protection thing. Like, protection is very important, especially with family, but if you spend all of your hours thinking about protecting the people you love, you're gonna miss out on so much in life. And I don't want that for Sam either. I want her to know that she's got this.
Yeah.
And I want Tara to know that too. But I really appreciate, again, just like from a psychological aspect, that like one of their last exchanges in the movie is just Sam asking Tara, "Are you okay?" And Tara just going, "No." And I'm like, good. You're good. You shouldn't be okay.
Perfect delivery, because it comes from a place of truth, but it also feels funny, but it also stops being funny. Like, it's one word, and she's a fucking star.
It's great.
So
next.
And I love that later when they sit down, she acknowledges like, I'm going to get so much therapy after this. I'm like,
yes!
Yeah, but you're still we are closing that arc a bit. So
and it reminds me of actually the moment like after they have an exchange where I'm never gonna walk away from you again and everything in the last movie, and she's just kind of like, "You are so high right now. I am so high right now."
They're both
like that. That's them. That's who they are.
Yeah. And I like that, even though I got the battle cry moment and then got hoodwinked out of it.
Yeah.
I still like that. About a minute later, without the battle cry happening, I get the second they drop, it's like battle mode. Boom, boom, boom. Quinn, bullet to the head. Like, it's still, I still got my beat. I still got the running into battle. I just got it somewhere else.
Yeah. Anything else?
I love me like, okay, let me just put it this way. In Avengers Endgame, portals are opening. Yes. Everyone's coming out, that big line, and we pull up to Captain America, "You're Avengers," and everyone gets their goosebumps on the assemble.
Yes!
I get my goosebumps somewhere else. It's the very second after when Thor goes, "Wah!" and they run into battle. I love that Thor hears assemble and goes, "Yeah." And to me, that's, come on, motherfucker, is Thor going, "Bleh!" And I needed them just going.
Oh my God, you're just making me think, like, not to like DC your Marvel, but
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, one of the single most joyful moments for me in oh my God, in the last 10 years was Wonder Woman's first screen appearance in BVS, when she shows up and everything, and just like when after they're there and everything, and it's just when she like battle cry, like, and leaps and everything, because again, didn't see any of the trailers, didn't know that she did that. So I'm just kind of like, I'm like watching her leap now. I'm just like, because she's like knocking him out. He's like falling down, but it's like, and everything like that. And Another battle cry moment, but I mean, I love a battle cry too. Alphaba at the end of Defying Gravity. Ah, that's battle cry for me. So
Sure.
yeah, I get it.
I love
hear
that
you.
for you. Yeah.
I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you.
While we're still, in the theater in this discussion, even though we've jumped from the beginning 3 scenes to the fucking end,
Yes.
I both love the theater and have one small nitpick.
Yes.
And that's that at first I go, oh my God, I love the symmetry because Scream 2 was in like a theater. And this one's in a movie theater for the finale. Like, this is great, But I look at the layout of it with the balcony that's curved like it's a concert venue or a theater. And I'm like, no movie theater's laid out like this.
In the movies, they are.
I mean, I'm used to the tradition bullshit.
No, I'm thinking about that movie theater with the balcony in Nightmare 4.
No, I'm fine with a single balcony. This one's U-shaped. There are seats not facing the screen, like, because they're on the sides, like a concert venue. And I go, okay. So I know that when the script was written, and they even said that like the last third was kind of nebulous because we're making this happen within a year. Yeah. So like based on what our location scouting is, that might affect the third act a bit. So the third act was written to be in a warehouse. And then the location scout was like, guys, I found this theater. And they went to it and they're like, holy shit. And then they brought the writers in and they're like, so now it's all taking place in a theater. Fine. And I think it's a great venue.
Yeah.
My only thing is it's like the screen like lifts up and I'm like, what fucking movie theater have you ever seen that like, no, it's a wall and there's maybe an alley behind it. This is what? I've seen theaters. I have a friend that lives in Philadelphia that works at a theater for the stage, but they have a screen that they bring in and sometimes play movies on it. So I'm like, okay, that could be done. The Carpenter Center in Long Beach can do that, and it's fucking glorious. But it's just weird to me. Like, sometimes I'm aware of the fact that this is a venue for live theater and concerts that you've added a screen to, and you're trying to get me to believe that it's a normal ass movie theater that does Rocky Horror every weekend at midnight. And I'm like, this is not a normal ass movie theater.
Wait, so how do you reconcile the backstage area in Gremlins when they're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
I never think about it before until right now, motherfucker. God damn it.
See, I'm telling you, in movies, there are liberties they take when you're in a theater.
There's not an exact wall. Yeah. Same thing with, I thought you were going to say Inglourious Bastards, which also counts,
Okay. See?
But also, Gremlins is one thing, right? This has fucking fly space. Like, but here's my headcanon. It was an old theater. Yeah. It was turned into a movie theater.
Why is this so?
Why is this so? Because my brain is like, it's bad. And now we have a podcast where people can hear it.
That should have been Sam's first line in her therapy session. Like, so why is this? She's like, this is why, because my brain is bad. And it felt right.
Yeah, I just have to convince myself that it was an old-timey theater that then someone else renovated and turned into a movie theater, and then that went out of business.
These things do happen. Yeah. I
mean, that's the thing is, they do happen. So
yeah.
Ultimately, I'm okay with it, but it's a bit of a journey, and that's why I go, it's just a little weird.
I've also been exposed to, I don't know how much time you spent in downtown LA in those venues, but I mean, like, a bunch of those used to be really opulent movie theaters that were built to showcase movies because it was Hollywood in the early 20th century, and they have
boxes on the side.
Yeah, exactly, and things like that. And also really ornately decorated too.
And I've seen ornate balconies, but they're all like front-facing balconies with some boxes on the side. What I don't see is completely curved seats looking the wrong way.
Oh my gosh, these curved seats are really like flying in your ointment. My God,
Eddie. What it means is one of two things. You either look the way the seat is and the screen's over there, or you spend the whole movie craning your neck to look at the screen. It's just a bad layout. Which is, you know what? You know what? Which is why that movie theater went under.
Hey, see, you solved it for yourself. Good.
Fucking got there.
You got there. All right. What else?
Do we want to go back to because I got things that we can go more linear, and then I got just random shit.
I have a huge thing, but
okay.
We don't have to talk about it right now, because if you have some things you want to go back to, because
no, I mean, the next thing that would pick us to is just getting to the police station and meeting Kirby for,
Oh yeah, let's talk about Kirby. Okay.
But before we talk about Kirby, I just want to get to this one note from the police station that kills me.
Go for it.
After they meet Kirby,
yeah,
and we've had the scene in the hall, they're about to leave. They're about to get the fuck out of Dodge because there's a killer. And goddamn Bailey says, "Your persons of interest, we can't have you leave." To which I go, that checks. Would probably happen.
Mm-hmm.
What I get upset at, not upset to pull me out of the movie, but when I watch it, I go, hey, what the fuck? No fucking police protection? Like, they're persons of interest. Someone tried to kill them. And we know that this shit's happened before. Scream 2, Sydney gets police protection. Fucking Scream 4, I got, I forget what their fucks names are, but Adam Brody, they had funny names in the movie, but they're stationed outside the house, Jill's house.
It's Perkins and something else.
Perkins is the name I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, I get. I don't want to say
Haas?
I don't get it. Yes, Haas and Perkins. I don't get upset at the movie. I get upset in the movie that when they're in the apartment and Quinn is killed and Anika is killed. Annika. I'm like, Annika. This didn't need to happen if there were some fucking police escorts on these two. He said it. Persons of interest.
Agreed.
Shitty ass cops.
I didn't think about that. And I don't think they ever address it.
If it wasn't for Kirby wanting to help out, they wouldn't have fucking anybody.
I never, why didn't I ever think about that?
Because you didn't see it six times.
Well, no, also maybe I'm just thinking, well, welcome to New York. Who doesn't have somebody trying to kill him in this city?
Thank you for doing that voice. That
Canadian waitress.
Green Goblin is fucking with it. Hey, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
I'm just doing the waitress.
Fucking great moment in Spider-Man.
Well, I'm just doing the waitress from Jason Takes Manhattan. And they were like, please help us. Some crazy person is trying to kill us. Welcome to New York. I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, you get that actor in New York. It's Sam Rockwell on the Foot Clan Island.
Yes, right.
Cigarettes, regular or menthol?
Yeah, because this is how we talk in the city. But anyway, okay.
I got a gun. Let's go to a Broadway show. Or Hawaii. Bukalakahiki. Come on, you want to lay me? Pass the point. Mahalo gung.
Stop. Okay. Kirby.
Yeah.
I love that I knew it was her, even though all we saw was her hair, but it wasn't the Kirby hair that I was expecting. And then when she finally turned around, that was a moment where some woman in the back row was applauding and wooing.
Aww.
And I was like, exactly. I was like, oh, good for you. I'm so happy. This is your girl. Okay, awesome. And we'll be doing this probably the rest of the pod. But when, in the end, when we're kind of led to, red herring Kirby, and then, she kind of disappears, and then she comes back in covered in blood, shooting, or aiming at least at Dermot Mulroney and everything like that. Like, what the fuck is going on? Somebody, I was well, I don't remember what she said, but she's like, somebody knocked me out and I don't know what happened. Whatever he said, you can't believe it. The second she came in with that gun and looked all bloodied and everything like that, that woman went nuts, like with relief, because I know she and I had the same brain for a few seconds where we were like, where they let the camera lingers on Kirby when she first like locks the door to the shrine and like lets them all know the plan, as it were, and they all kind of dissipate, and she just kind of lingers by the door and, you know, just kind of leers at them and then moves out of the frame. And I remember it at that point thinking, don't do what I think you're going to do. I hope this is just a red herring thing. I hope that you're just, Kirby unfortunately happened to look really, really suspicious in that moment, because if you do the thing that, you know, that you're on the runway, like waving me, like we're doing this, if that's the thing you're doing, I'm leaving. I don't want Kirby to be a ghost face. I don't want her to be in on it. I don't want her to pull a Mrs. Loomis. I don't want her to, you know, and thank God she didn't. And so when she finally came in and it was clear, like, okay, Kirby is clearly not a ghost face, that woman went wild. And I was like, in my, you know, inside, I was just like, yeah, right. You made the right decision, because Kirby is golden and we don't do that to golden people. Anyway, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't think that even after getting stabbed twice by someone when she was in high school, I don't see that person, and that person who's that much into horror movies goes down that path.
I know.
And this
it would have been so
I
lame.
can't, it's not my trauma to, you know, I can't envision it, but
sure,
you know, in movie terms,
it would have sucked.
Yeah, it really would have.
That would have been like, that's not Kirby. Who is that then? Kirby's somewhere with her real hair, with her Kirby hair, and this is an imposter. It's some girl who looks like Kirby wearing a wig. Because that's another thing. Her hair, I'm sure it is her real hair, but it looks like she's wearing a wig the whole time.
Oh, really? I just presumed it was a wig.
It just looked like a real hard line here. Maybe it is. I don't know, but also, I mean, like the way it's angled, like it could just be like she parted it at a particular angle. Sometimes your own hair can look like pretty wig like. I don't know. I want to find out. I want to get a commentary, because I don't know. I don't. The blue hasn't been released yet.
Comes out in July.
Yeah, and it's cost. I saw the pre-sale at like Barnes and Noble or something, which I will not be buying it from, but it was like $35.99 or something for just the regular Blu-ray, and I was like, "Is that how much they're charging for?"
Well, that's probably the retail price before
sales.
Like it's set at $35.99, but then like your stores will then sell it for $29.99. You know,
right,
for the first week or two, and you know, but yeah,
and then slowly.
Yeah, come on. We used to work at Suncoast. You know how it goes.
Okay, it's been a minute, and that seemed like a lot of money. I was just kind of like, what? And I looked at the edition. I was like, what's special about this thing? Because
all I can presume is that since Barnes & Noble has been phasing out physical media from their stores more and more, they're not even bothering with like an opening weekend sale price. They're like, I don't know, it's $35.99. Just put the listing as $35.99. Who gives a shit? No one's gonna buy it from us anyway.
Right. Oh, that's sad. But so that's one thing Kirby related. But it was nice to just basically kind of like find out that she's working for the FBI, that she's kept tabs on Woodsboro and its comings and goings, you know, up until this point, and that she, I don't know, that I love that when Gail walks in and says like, "You're a kid," and she's like, "I'm 30." I'm just like, I was wondering. I'm glad we put a number on it, because I'm bad at math.
And all the math lines up when you look at when Scream 4 came out and when Sam, like all the math checks out.
Yeah, she could have been 18.
Sam being like, I think Sam
would have been a freshman.
Sam's 25 in Scream 5. She's like supposed to be 25 or 26 in this one. 4-year difference. Like it all. Yeah.
I was really happy about that.
And much like how Sheriff Judy is like went to school with Sydney, I like that they linked that you were a senior and that your age is like, it's great. Love that shit. I love when the bullshit work is actually correct.
And
just so happy to have her back, because like, you know, Kirby to me is like the star of Scream 4.
Well,
when the tease of her being alive in 5 even was a thing, I'm like,
I know,
because I was a big fan of the Kirby Lives movement.
Me too, and I really wanted her to be in Scream 5, and when she wasn't, I was a little disappointed. And then when I heard she was going to be in Screevy, I was like, we'll see. Like I didn't want to believe it until I saw it. Even when I saw she's on the poster. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I mean, what if she just like kind of like walks through like, oops, sorry, and just walks out of frame? You know, like I have to worst case scenario myself.
Or
just
worst
so I don't
case,
have.
she dies in the opening, you know.
Oh, see, what are you doing? Don't put that in my
Big.
head. I don't even feel like being here anymore. But
Anymore? You don't want to be here now.
what were we talking about? Kirby.
Kirby.
You got anything else special about Kirby?
Well, there's it's like just a little bullshit, you know. Sometimes I love it. I love the moment. And I didn't even notice it until like the 6th time I saw it. But because it's such a nice moment, Tara and Sam sitting on the steps of the stage, and Red Right Hand is playing.
Yeah.
Richie's fan movie.
Yeah.
And then fucking motherfucking Ethan runs out for one last kill.
Yeah.
And I never noticed several times, but she flings the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember old pre widescreen TVs in the 90s and how fucking, even like what, a 32-inch?
Yeah. They were heavy as fuck.
They had so much equipment. Like there's so you, if it was like a 20, you as one person, like you needed 2 people and your little fingers, because the bottom's made of plastic and it would pinch in your fingers. That shit's heavy.
Yeah.
And she throws it like it's one of those fake IKEA TVs that's like made out of foam.
Yes.
And I'm like, there's no way. She's little. Like, there's no way she just smacks it and it goes and just.
She's a force of nature, but
it was like a Marvel. It was like, you know, fucking Shazam, just like throwing.
Yeah, right. Just. But I mean, also it had already fallen and like crushed one other person. If it's the TV that fell on Stu, so most of the fixtures could have like fallen out and everything like that, because they were. That's the thing about, they were always screen heavy. Do you notice like the back never really weighed anything? It was all like they were very, very kind of top heavy. Like if it started, if you leaned on it, it would start to tilt with the screen falling forward and everything like that. And I remember but I even remember how heavy they were, because the year you and I met was the year of the Northridge earthquake. We were teens, and I remember we had 2 of those giant, well, not giant, but now, but they were giant screen TVs then. And I remember they both fell down onto their screens. Neither one of them broke, but they got some discoloration afterwards that we still watched them for like a couple years after that. But I remember hearing the boom when they fell from my bedroom, which is at the other end of the house. And yeah, that shit's heavy. But I mean, again, like if it cracks open and some of the fixtures fall out, who's to say? I don't know.
Yeah, and you're explaining it realistically, and my brain just goes, it's a movie, you know, and it's quick editing. And for the first, but now that I saw it though, I just like
headcanon.
Yeah, all the stuff fell out.
And then of course there's the exchange,
because some of it's embedded in Stu's face.
Yeah, exactly, because he's dead. But there's also the exchange between Mindy and Kirby, which I appreciated. It was kind of fan servicey, but at the same time, it's like, how are you going to have the 2 biggest movie fans not go there? At least, and the thing is, they didn't linger on it. They didn't spend the whole movie like just gabbing about movies. They just had a moment where they chose a few titles, lifted them out. It seems like it bothered you though. What's going on?
Well, first of all, no, you're right. I'm glad they didn't just do it the whole movie, because let's be honest, there are more pressing matters. We are trying to solve a mystery and our lives are at stake. So I'm glad that like it isn't just reference-orama. They just take a quiet minute. I like the moment. My problem is I want to love the moment. And when they first sat down, I'm like, because the second like I even knew that Kirby was in this, I'm like, Kirby and Mindy. Oh, I hope they have something. I want these 2 to goob out. And then they sit down. I'm like, here it is. And like, there's a certain line of you know, like movies. There's certain obviously there's movies where the dialogue has to feel truthful and honest and natural, and then there's times where we go like, well, that's not how people talk, it's a movie, you know. And then there's like a certain degree where I just like I when I watch that scene, and all the times I've met someone, because like let's say at work, oh, you like movies? Oh yeah, I like movies. We never go like, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Empire. Like, it just like that's not how fucking people talk. And it's so comedic that I'm like, if this was like a vaudeville act or something, I would get it. But this is not at all, even in this universe, like how people behave. It's too much. It's too cutesy of a beat. I like. I've never met like a fellow horror fan and been like Psycho 2, and just to like hear their response, like no. And then
Okay.
also, I think, and even at least I appreciate like they both say underrated. Fine
For Psycho 2.
for Psycho 2, but like I really like, I love that they don't say the same answer Friday 13th.
Yeah, me too.
But then when they're like Candyman, the original, like both, and it's like so factual. I'm just like, Jesus, like like me telling them of all people, like calm down, like it's just your opinion. Stop acting like it's fact. Like just relax. Like some weird, cute litmus test that they all have. Like I wanted them to sit down and like goob out, but not. It just doesn't feel organic enough as characters speaking.
Okay, well, number one,
and yet I still kind of like as vaudeville. I think it's fine.
okay, because also, I mean, we're talking about like characters who are both stand-ins for Randy. Like they're basically occupy that voice, in the script that Randy used to occupy in his first three, even kind of in the third movie. And a lot of that isn't the way people talk either.
Right.
As
There's
far
a
as
certain degree, and this was just like,
It's always a movie, but also I do have to say, like in rebuttal, because I will point to you. I don't think I've engaged in conversations. If somebody did just kind of sit next to me and start doing that, I'd be like, oh, you're not a real horror fan. But
and also you're
like,
weird.
Yeah, you're this cutesy thing. No, but that said, when they did it, because is the first one Best Nightmare? Is that the first one they do? Best Nightmare on Elm Street movie? And I was like, Dream Warriors, and they both said the original, and I was like, oh. So immediately I was like, oh, okay, we're on different pages. But no,
but you're calling back to Casey Becker and you're calling back to Wes Craven, so like
sure, and that's fine. But no, but I mean, I was participating, because then they said like Best Friday the 13th, and I was like part 2, and I heard final chapter. I'm like, oh, the eternal argument, it's manifest in these two characters. And game respects game. They choose to acknowledge the fact that they do not share the same answer, and they're not chastising each other about it. They're not going to argue about it. And then when they got to because wait, what's after that? Because then there's another thing before Candyman, isn't there?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
So what
Psycho 2.
Oh, Psycho 2. They said Psycho 2 is, and I was just kind of like, great. And they said underrated. And at the time, I remembered being very, very warmed by that, because number one, there are so many young people who are watching Screevy, and so many people, and they're going to see that, and they're going to be like, is it? And then they're going to go watch Psycho 2. So good. But I've had enough time between my initial viewing and now and I've watched Psycho 2 since then, and I love that movie. That said, of that franchise, I do not believe that Psycho 2 is the underrated sequel. I feel that's Psycho 3, but that's my own feeling. Yeah, exactly. I feel like Psycho 2 got the accolades. It made all the money, and it's the one that even
hit. People forget
and
that.
it's the one that like the horror fans, we love it, but the normies love it too. I don't call that underrated, but okay. I wondered, but so also, subsequently, that's something I take issue with.
And I have a different issue I take with this. Is such a petty fuck me bullshit, right? But like,
oh god,
when you're throwing it, like, to me, when you talk about something being underrated, that's part of a conversation. But when you're just like, this thing is blank, I'm waiting for like good, bad, whatever. But like, underrated is not the word I throw out as the descriptor for it. Like, that's an opinion that's part of a conversation. It's just like the wrong word. I don't know. I just don't buy it. Again, it doesn't feel like an organic thing to say.
if it'll get more people watching the Psycho franchise, I'm fine with it. But it is a nitpick for me. Yeah.
You want to hear something fucked up though?
What?
After they both go, Candyman, and they go both.
Yeah.
Right before this, when they look at each other, my brain went, game recognizes game. And then they go, game recognizes game. I was like, oh, you read my mind. Movie.
See, that one shocked me because they said best Candyman movie or Candyman original or reboot, and I was just kind of like, and then they both said both, and I was just kind of like, oh, I didn't know that was an option. Like, I'm like literally, I'm playing at home. I'm the person watching Jeopardy going, Cleveland, what is Cleveland? Yeah. So I had fun with it.
Side note, one day, I don't know, like if we ever decide to rank the Friday the 13th,
yeah,
I don't know what I'm going to do, Eddie.
Really? Why?
There's things I love about 2 and 4 and 6 that I don't know where to. I've ranked them on Letterboxd because you have to put a number, but like there's so much that I like about 2, and then I go, oh, but, and then I go, oh, but.
You know what you need? A whiteboard, and you need a column for part 2, and a column for final chapter, pros and cons of both, and then you need to, and have it the long way.
Yeah.
And just keep listing stuff, or do a tablet if you want, whatever you want, but just keep listing stuff until the ranking, and then when we finally do that ranking, the answer will be in the evidence, sir. The proof will be in the pudding.
I'm glad we went there, Eddie. Thank you. Got a whiteboard.
Me too. Game recognizes game.
Can we go off on a rant?
Yeah, go for it.
Random thing, because I already talked about him earlier about I talked about how excited I was that what the fuck is his fucking name? The guy who plays Danny. I'm a fan. I want to say Barrera.
John Segarra.
Josh Segarra. Let me tell you one thing that happened. That first of all, his name's Danny Brackett. Take off the D, Annie Brackett, Halloween. So they're still with the names with this, because remember, like the last movie, like we got the names.
Yeah.
This one, Annika's last name is Kayoko from The Grudge. Got Laura Crane. Like we're still with the names, so I love. Yeah. And again, they're not like beating you over the head with them, and that's a smart way to do it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Danny Brackett. They've already established him, so it's later in the movie. It's when it's Quinn's kill scene. Yeah. And he's in his apartment and he's ironing. And he's shirtless. And this lady behind me went, damn.
Yeah.
And it just kills me. I love that kind of audience interaction. It's my favorite.
I just love that. I had an audible reaction when they were first just like, oh, is cute boy shirtless again? I just went, boy.
I'm all man, lady.
I was watching him and I was just kind of like, there is nothing boy about that. That is a man. That is nobody would look at that and call it cute boy. So that made Quinn suspect for me from the get-go. No, I'm just kidding. But,
no, I mean I've talked enough about like what a talent I think he is. But here's just a little thing I like about. First of all, I like that he knows enough about what's going on to look at Sam and be like, well, then don't trust anyone. Don't trust me.
I love that.
And I'm like, I love that you're putting her forward and that you're lucid enough to take a step back.
Twice. He does it twice.
Oh, and she's like, hey, you're not family, so
you're not Woodsboro. And he hears that.
And he still calls the police and gets like,
he is a keeper.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a mensch.
Love it.
But here's the little thing about it. Here's why I like him.
Okay.
Because it's just a character thing.
Okay.
He's ironing a t-shirt. Not dress slacks, not things that like should be ironed. But I get super judgy about like a wrinkly t-shirt, and then you go out in public like this is how embarrassing. Like I remember one time we were walking around it's I forget what it's called now, but it used to be called The Block, and you could see these teenagers. You could tell they're on a date. It's a teenage boy, teenage girl, and he was wearing like a wrinkly shirt, and my buddy just looks at me and he goes, like pretending he's talking to the kid. He's like, dude, you couldn't fucking iron your shirt for her. We're like, right? And the fact that a t-shirt isn't priority, but a wrinkly shirt, you know, I don't know if you know, like sometimes I'll just throw it in the dryer.
Yeah, yeah.
I know I'm going to wear it.
Wrinkle
But here in
release.
NYC,
Yeah.
he doesn't have a fucking dryer probably in that apartment. But even like,
But you can, then you can, you know
no,
what you do? You
so
put it on a hanger, and when you take your shower, the steam.
the steam, yes.
Yeah.
But even without that, I just know it was such a dumb thing. But the fact that he takes the time to iron a t-shirt, I'm like, you give a little shit about appearance, and you make the effort. You make the effort. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything.
Dude.
I can't think of anything that I had for him that was a criticism. Everything that came up, I was just kind of like, check. So yeah. Oh, yes.
No, when Sam is in the hallway and we first like meet him after seeing him through the window.
Yeah.
Like the gasps in the theater.
Oh yeah.
Of the audacity.
Yes.
Like not judging, but like women were just like, oh, like you hoeing it up, like, oh my god, like what a hoe. And then you find out they know each other. Yeah.
No, I thought it was great. I knew the second it was happening, like, oh, there's a history. Oh, yeah. She's been doing this for a week. Like, I mean, because I am a hoe, but
yeah, and it's juicy. It's a story, you know. And also he got the crinkle too when he's like, you know, I can't help it if my kink is the girlfriend who's like embarrassed to see me. He does this little crinkle. Something about actors who crinkle. I go,
I swear to God, like sometimes the little idiosyncrasies, the little things that people do with their faces that you know, it's like I once you bring some of them up, I never unsee them, or even if I have seen them, I haven't quite articulated it to myself that it is there, but then it's like once I've spoken about them with you. The end of Clerks 2, Rosario Dawson's eyes darting to Dante's
when she climbs in the car.
When she climbs in the car, and I remember you talking about that with me one of the times when we screened that movie, maybe the first time. But I don't think it was the first time. I think it might have been like we were just talking about it because I had just watched it again and I think rediscovered like it's so good, and we just talked. You brought that up about the eyes, and I was just kind of like, I always noticed it, but now whenever I watch that movie and I see that moment, I'm just like, John Carlos loves that. But,
I do that. Yeah, I know. I remember side tangent. Like I knew I had a friend who had a thing about people who touch foreheads, like as a bonding thing. So like in Dogma, when like Ben is about to kill Matty Damon, but we don't know it yet, but he's puts his forehead next to his brother and then like guts him. She's like, oh, like that gave me their whole history. Yeah. Just those two foreheads touching. She's like, I know, that's my thing. I went, and I think of her every time I watch Dogma.
Oh, it's making me think of the love scenes in March of the Penguins. Anyway, let's talk about something that's not going to make me cry. No, but only other thing, like as far as like cute boy, because I mean, like it's just kind of like A+, thumbs up, you know. Beyond that, his just his selflessness. I love how involved he is, not just because he cares. Because I feel like he's not just doing it because it's Sam, but I feel like he would go to these lengths, or at least near these lengths, if he saw someone in some kind of danger. When he's across the way in his window, Quinn is getting killed, and
I love it.
He is just getting on
I
the phone.
See you, motherfucker. Oh, I love how mad he gets.
Oh my god. And then he just gets on the phone, and he's like, and the call, and it's not working, so he just like finds a way to like mass text them and everything like that. Which somehow he has all their numbers. I don't care.
I was very confused about that.
I don't care.
At one point I'm like, wait, did the killer do that? And there's another phone?
No,
because how can he airdrop to what?
That's one thing I can't get my head around, because they just met him. I almost called him Cuba. Mason Gooding. Chad is, you know, like, yeah, go, you know, like after they like meet him for the first time. So they all just basically met him. Like they don't know this guy, so why would he have like all of their contact info? But who knows? Maybe Sam gave it to him in case like something I'm not going to try and reason it out. It's a plot hole, but I don't care that it's there, because it just creates more amplified emotion and chaos going on in that apartment. I love them all finding out at the same time on that phone, and then running out, and there's Annika and everything like that, and them standing there bracing themselves before that door opens. And I just recently like got one of those like blank horror movie things. I sent it to you, or tagged you in it and everything in my Instagram story.
I just did it today.
Oh, yeah, cool. I haven't looked yet because I was working. But no, I did mine, and I did it without really investing. Like, it said favorite ghost face, and I'm just like, I don't even know how to answer that. So I just wrote that. I don't even know how to begin to answer this, because I'm like, I don't have a favorite ghost face. I don't like ghost face. Any of the ghost faces, like, even if I enjoy them like on screen or enjoy their performances, that's really the thing. I enjoy
Then
their performances, but I don't enjoy. That doesn't mean you're my favorite Ghostface. I fucking hate that. Like, I'm like, no, I hate Ghostface, and I realized after I posted it, I'm like, oh, I should have said Sam, but because
you're
if
right.
we're counting Sam Carpenter as a Ghostface, that is my favorite
Yep.
Ghostface. I should have done that. But one of the things I wrote, it said like your favorite kill scene, and I was just kind of like, favorite kill scene, and obviously the most obvious thing what is like for most people, I think, would be Casey Becker. It didn't occur to me though. The first thing that occurred to me, I hadn't even watched Screevy this week yet, was the ladder scene. I just kind of thought
Ugh,
favorite kill scene, and I just saw Annika on the ladder, and I was
so
like,
good.
I was just like, I don't know if this is truly my favorite. But it's the first one to occur to me, so I'll just say that. And I think I just said I don't know, but that ladder shit from Screevy fucked me up, something like that. And it does. I watched the movie again and I cry in that kill scene. And it is a legit kill scene, because I thought also after the fact, I was like, I mean, of course, Casey Becker, there's also like, oh, Dewey getting stabbed in Scream 2, but that's not really a kill scene because he doesn't die. It's an attack. So technically it's not a kill scene, but I cry in that too. But I just thought, like, for this, I'm glad I said the latter scene, just because at this stage in the franchise, for a kill to affect me that much, it's my favorite kill of the movie. And I mean, favorite, because it affects me so much, because it antagonizes me so much, because I care. I'm watching Mindy, like one of my favorite characters, lose someone who obviously means a lot to her. We didn't get to know her that well, but we know that she treasures her. And she was the first one who had eyes on Tara at the party, and I'm just kind of like, okay, good, I like this. She's part of the group. She's got priorities to, like, make sure that the members of the group are like safe and everything like that. That's the kind of person I want in this movie. And then to see the way it's affecting Mindy,
That's what gets
the
me.
fact that we know, yeah, and the fact that also she's already been stabbed in the gut. That's a horrible place to be stabbed without any kind of like medical care at the
And her
ready. And
scream that
then
she sells. It's so
her
good.
scream, and also that the pain that you must be doubled in over, and coupled with, okay, just putting a ladder from window to window across like a fucking like laundry line,
It's terrifying.
floors, so many floors, is fucking terrifying in and of itself. Imagine you're bleeding out from your gut, somebody is still banging against a door trying to finish the job, your beloved is waiting for you at the other end, as is her crew and everything like that, and you're terrified. And then you're the first person who doesn't just have to crawl across it, but now Ghostface is doing all this fucking shit with you, and I am screaming my guts out, and I'm and I'm and I'm all the things, I'm all the positions, all the vocal reactions, and the tears streaming down my face. And then finally when she falls, and the fact that we just see Mindy just with the loss and everything, and also it's brutal
Also,
the way
and they
she,
do a kiss before Mindy leaves the room.
I know,
Like
God, yeah, like a just in case,
yeah.
you know but also I love you, like I don't want to leave you, like, I mean, it's so layered, like there's so much to that sequence, from the moment Danny sees Ghostface to that body hitting the fucking like dumpster, and she
Oh
hits a
yeah.
dumpster first and then
Yeah,
crashes down
her face smacks on the dumpster after she falls.
and then them all just like looking down, and Ghostface just, peace
Right.
out and everything, and just the debris, just I feel like the debris of trauma just like strewn about everywhere. It's just
Yeah.
you've
And there
massacred our night.
and there's something about him leaving too, about how, like, obviously you've had like a killer flee a scene, or the kill is done, but something about the fact that I'm not going across this ladder. Like, I acknowledge you're over there and I'm over here, so this is done now. Like, until next time,
Yeah,
you know.
at least I killed a couple of you.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I remember getting a little upset that, like, Danny, like they're right there, right? So if she didn't answer your phone, call again, call again. Chances are, if you get a second or third call, you might realize it aren't important. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then also I remember at one of the times I saw it, I'm like, fucking, if run, go to the. But then I remembered, I'm like, thank God you didn't, because the door's fucking
Yeah.
locked.
Yeah.
Would have been a waste of time. Thank God you were there.
And also, I think you probably wouldn't want to lose your eyes on what's going on because
Exactly.
you don't know what you're going to be running into. I would prefer to keep eyes on it. So once I do get a hold of somebody, I can tell them exactly where Ghostface is and what to do, rear window style.
Quinn and Ethan are very lucky.
Mhm.
In fact, I think it's because Quinn already knows he lives across the hall or across the alley, the window,
Mhm.
that we have to make this. Not only is this going to be fake, we're probably going to have someone watching. So we actually have to stage this
Yeah.
as a performance.
Mhm.
We don't just sit here on the other side and go, blah, 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 blah. And lucky for them, there's a bed. So in
Yeah.
theory, she crawls down there. They
Mhm.
bloody her up. He mimes some of this shit,
Yeah.
and then he picks her up.
Yeah.
But for the camera, dead body. Like,
Mhm.
the thing that's creepy though is the guy's showering, presumably post-coital shower.
Yeah.
Which means her brother was already in the room when they were fucking.
Yeah, they're sick.
That's gross.
Although maybe no, if we don't want to go there,
She's
'cause, I
legitimately on
mean,
the phone with her dad, so I think it's Ethan in the room.
no. I think it is Ethan, but at the same time, if we don't want to have that be the situation, if he was in the room with her fucking, like, what if they were getting ready to fuck, but like he had been like, I don't know, at work or at the gym, and she was just kind of like, oh, take a shower.
Oh,
So
that
he
works.
went to go take a shower, and then he got, and then now kill me.
I'll buy that.
Yeah,
I'll buy
that makes
that.
me feel better. Like I don't need the ick. it's ick enough. You just don't need to compound the ick. But
yeah. So I love that he's there. And the thing about the ladder that really gets me is like, now that you're, I don't know, there's something about when you take stock of a moment. I know we're talking about the bad guy here, but once he sees the ladder,
yeah.
Ghostface, I love that he just takes the knife and goes like thump, almost as if to be like, well, time to get my hands dirty, and he rolls his sleeves.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, and just the sheer, like, Annika is selling the fuck out of that 1000%. Such a traumatic scare. Like, very rarely do I think of a kill as like scary, but like that is terrifying on different levels.
I wonder how high she actually was. I mean, she probably obviously had something underneath her that was like cushy or something, so in case she actually did fall, she wouldn't get hurt and everything. But I wonder what the distance was, because even if I had something cushy underneath me, that's scary. A fall is scary because you could fall on something
8
cushy
feet in
and
the air?
still
Is she 20 feet in the air?
Yeah, you could still hurt yourself.
Happens all the time.
So if you fall the wrong way,
you see actors, like, I forget, but like they're landing on a mat. But I remember like we got thrown for something, but like I still landed on my ankle the wrong way on a mat. And then just a little thing, but after it's all said and done, it's not just he looks at them, but I love that he like thunk, takes, it's something about just the boom, like dropping the knife right into the wood. Just fucking, I really like this Ghostface performer. There's a lot of very fun physicality to it.
And it's all at the same time almost transactional. Like there's I don't know, it's almost like you can see the thought bubbles. Like the thunk, there is a very kind of like, now I'm going to, the new phase has begun of the fear. Now I shall move the ladder. Now the ladder has been moved. Thunk. Good day, sir.
Some good day, sir. Well, yeah, you go into the bodega, and I got this knife. I stabbed this fool, but then this guy pulls a shotgun on me, and fuck you. This is mine now. Yeah, it's mine now.
And seemed very at
with
home.
A Michael Mann rack focus, by the way.
Maybe that's another thing that scared me also, was like the Ghostface, like body language, holding the gun. Like there was an
predatorial
ease. And there was an ease about it. It was like a familiarity. Not that you go. How funny would it have been if Ghostface would have picked up the rifle and been like, "How do you shoot? I can't see with this mask on."
No offense to Ethan or Quinn, but like, because I 100% think that's Bailey in that scene.
Oh God. I don't see. I hate thinking about
Like, I'm like,
who
no,
the
he's
ghost
too
face
familiar. That's Bailey.
is. Yeah, probably, but I hate thinking about who the ghost face is because it just sometimes I mean, sometimes it's fun, but
Yeah.
sometimes, like you just saying that, like I just imagine Bailey with a giant rifle, and I'm just gonna in a ghost face. That's creepy. That's really creepy to me. I don't like. That's creepier than Ethan if he were in the room while his sister was fucking. Like, then I could just go like, well, the whole family's fucked up, but him, a straight white man with a gun in a mask in a bodega, because that's another that was another thing that I really enjoyed about it, was there was something kind of it sounds like a criticism, but kind of too real or more real about moving into a space and picking up a gun and, like, pursuing somebody predatorily, like it's happening in public spaces all over the country.
Mhm.
And we keep
Oh
reading
yeah.
headlines about people like in public spaces that should be deemed even safer than a bodega, like schools and churches and whatnot. And so watching that, I was grateful that there wasn't some kind of like fantastical New York that they were constructing, or anything, or even like salacious, like kind of New York. It felt very authentic, like
Oh
of the
yeah.
moment, that moment, as opposed to like the Manhattan of Jason Takes Manhattan.
Which is
Doesn't
ironic
feel
because that's ironic because it's also like Jason Takes Manhattan. It's Canada.
yeah.
Like there's one day of, which is funny. Like Jason Takes Manhattan took like one evening
Yeah.
to shoot Jason walking down Times Square.
Overnight. Yeah.
I'm not criticizing this movie at all. This movie doesn't even do that.
Mm-mm.
They sent, I know they got some, I don't want to call it like stock footage, but there's lots of aerial shots.
Aerial, yeah, exactly.
And studios will buy that and go, we're using this one. Great. And then there's companies that just shoot aerial shots to be purchased by studios.
Sure.
And then they sent their guy to go shoot. And I think they sent him around like Halloween time or something. But they basically, the people walk, or maybe they dressed them, but the people just walk around the city in costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Was shot by like a second AD or something.
Oh wow.
And that's actually New York. That was captured by the team. But like none of the main actors shoot in any New York locations at all.
And I can tell when another city or even a soundstage is sitting in for New York, usually. Like there's just something. And with this movie, like, bravo, because I don't feel like I'm watching it going like, clearly not New York, because, and usually it's something really simple, like the sidewalks are not that clean, or the streets are not that wide, or the buildings just don't look like that, in a lot of places where they stand in other cities. But
there are parts that maybe don't necessarily look like parts of Manhattan, but there are parts of this movie where I'm like, well, that looks like it could be like in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Like that looks like it could be like,
or even in Manhattan, like the Bowery, or like there's different. There's a lot of Manhattans. Like
yes.
there's not
subway
just one
station.
Manhattan.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at. Was that like I'm just lumping it all into just the island, but not
sure.
But no, there's subway station entrances that I'm like, oh, that works. But no, but I agree with you. The one thing that really sold me was the fact that they just run into a bodega.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh yeah, this feels good.
Yeah, works for me.
Although I will bring up as a talking point, one of the things that is one of the little things that I was just like, it's such a naysayer in advance, and I didn't vocalize it at all, but in my social media circles of horror and Scream fandom, like on Instagram and stuff, there's so many people that were so excited about New York, new location, New York, the poster, New York, new rules. And I'm like, and this is before I knew about this, I'm like, they probably didn't even fucking film in New York, so who gives a shit? Like it's a movie, but people were so hyped, and I didn't want to yuck anyone's yum, but I want to be like, none of that's going to matter. None of it. It's all going to be like sets, and at one point I knew that I didn't know they're filming the whole movie in Canada, but I remember reading about, they're filming this week, and there was some like paparazzi that were like shooting, which I think ended up being the building that Sam walks by, that Tony Rivoli was killed in, like I just went like, oh, okay, so yeah, you're shooting a lot in New York for fucking Canada, fine. Anyway, this is the part of the podcast where I'm a little grumpy about stuff, but again, I'm not gonna blast people and go, oh, who gives a shit? It's just gonna be Canada. It's only a muddle, but but also there was so much it's one thing when fans were saying, Oh, and they're getting out of Woodsboro and they go to New York and they go, oh, because they're finally getting out of Woodsboro. But when the media would actually be like, oh, we're getting out of Woodsboro. And I hate when they say for the first time. And I want to be like, Scream 2 didn't take place in Woodsboro. Scream 3 didn't take place in Woodsboro. And when they go, oh, we're going somewhere like New York, I'm like, Scream 3 took place in Hollywood.
Yeah.
We have been outside of Woodsboro many times. We have been to a major metropolitan city. And that movie showed fucking Hollywood Boulevard. That movie showed fucking Capitol Records building. Like,
yes.
Not to be a snobby asshole, like you've seen these movies, right? You are a fan of Scream. You know that we love Woodsboro.
It's just part of the rhetoric that people like to cycle through.
You know what? Same thing happened in Scream 5. Like, oh, we're going back to Woodsboro. I'm like, fucking Scream 4 was in Woodsboro.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
I
don't want to sound like an entitled Star Wars fan who's just shitting on stuff, but sometimes I go off a little bit and go, and get judgy. And I am done now.
Well, okay, my turn. I have a big problem with this movie. And I can attribute it all to 2 words. Gale Weathers. Okay.
Oof. Eddie, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I think we've been doing this for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Gale Weathers now, or do you want that to be a lead-in as your starting point for part 2?
Let's lead in to the next.
Because now I have to wait to hear this. Okay. Thank you for joining me.
Anytime.
And for those of you who are watching, please come back for part 2, because I cannot wait to fucking hear what comes out of Eddie's mouth next. And with that